Welcome to the stream, YouTube. Sorry about that. I feel a little bad. I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have not have deleted the Twitter votes. On Twitter, the Discord arcade game had all the votes, and I moved it to Discord, and then it won there. Like no questions asked. First place, tactical combat game. I'm pretty excited. I got to do a little bit more planning for it. But I put together this Discord, so what are we working on today is a question I might ask. Idea for interactive on stream. During the intro, put your finger on the screen. After your intro, you will see that the Captain Coder put his finger too. Try touching each other. Try touching each other, that's right. You gotta put, I don't know why I started doing that. You gotta put so I gotta put my finger in a different spot each time. You gotta try putting your finger so that your whole, ET style each time the intro starts. A fun little game you can play. Stygian, thank you so much for that little game. We're gonna have to write that one down. Captain Chico, welcome back. Congratulations on your number 6. But yeah, we're working on a tactics engine. Thank you for the hat. Let's get this hat party started. Let's get a hat. Which hat do I want to wear on the bottom? We got to decide here. It's always the bottom hat. Believe it or not, that bottom hat's the most important hat. That bottom hat's one of the most important hats to wear because it really sets the basis for the rest of that stack. Captain Chica, thank you so much for that. Oh, I forgot to switch my cam. Hang on, let's try it. Captain Chica, thank you for the hat redeem. Oh, yeah. Captain Chica, I hope you're having a beautiful day. Happy Monday, my friend. Welcome back to the stream. It's great to see you. Great to have you here. What thou art doing with these magnificent repos now shall pass. We're going to see. Protect that hypercube brain. Exactly. Got to protect the... I like to call it the hyper noodle. The hyper noodle. Got to keep that noodle intact. Got to protect it. Get it nice and soft. Protect us from any blows that might come in. Playing around with the wiki feature here of GitHub. Kind of interesting. You can sort of do these markdown little web pages. I started to find the board is going to be a big part of our tactic game. Keyboard flying around. It's true. Hyper spaghetti brain makes hyper spaghetti code. Well, look, that's why I call it. It's not a spaghetti. It's just a noodle. The old noodle. Biggs. Number 7. Lucky number 7. Biggs, how's it going, friend? I hope you're having a beautiful day. How you been? What are you up to? How are you doing? What are you up to these days? What are you up to these days? What have you been working on? Been out of town, but it's great to be back. It's great to be working on something new. I'm doing absolutely wonderful today. Absolutely wonderful. We're going to start on our combat. So people voted. We're starting on our combat tactics, our tactical combat game, inspired by ours. I'm working on my entry for the Vertical Jam right now. Very nice. Very nice. If you got any links, feel free to share it with us. You should probably be able to post them. If it runs into trouble, I'll give you permission. But feel free to post some links if you want anyone to check it out. We might check it out. Folks, this coming Saturday, don't forget we have our showcase coming up on Saturday. I think we have room for maybe 1 or 2 more people. We'll see if people cancel. We always get 1 or 2 cancellations, but we'll find out. But the showcase Saturday is going to be huge. Look at all these great entries for the showcase. I'm super excited about it. I'm so excited. We're going to get Idrint showing off the API bench. We've got Risky Biscuit showing off Forgotten Planet again. Some new updates that Moon is showing off Moonvania. Oh, it's going to be so good. We got Horsey GG coming in. Simple JWT coming in here. I believe, I can't remember hang on. Let me look here just to make sure. Yeah. So that's going to be awesome. Then we got Full Box is going to be here showing off. Oh, Full Box game looks awesome. We're going to get Oryx showing off Zappin' Bulbs. Excellent garage sale here. We got a whole slew of entries to show off on Saturday, so be sure to show up on the showcase. Only for the jam itself. Nothing to show on my entry yet. No worries, Biggs. No worries. When you got it, go and share it with us on the Discord. We'll play it on stream. I'm always love checking out what people are doing. What are we doing today? We're working on this tactics engine, this tactics game. We're defining the board here. So one of the things in the original version that I didn't like was I was stuck basically having characters could only ever have 1 space. As a hero, that's okay. Almost got it, Irad. Almost got it. Try exclamation point first. You got to put the exclamation point first. You got it back. Attacks on humans has turn-based combat. Exactly, whimsically made. It's going to have turn-based combat here. And one of the things I would like to get right in this one is I would like, so the player heroes typically are going to be one by one, but there's no reason they couldn't take up more space. And so we've talked about how we need to define what the board looks like, what can be on the board, what can be there. And so I've gone through and I've sort of written out this definition of the different types of things that the board can have. So a board is a 2D area. It's made up of tiles. So I'm calling them tiles on the board. So board has tiles. So the board is going to be a set of positions. A set of positions representing tiles. So every tile can have neighbors, like so. So we might draw, man, my drawing skills are so good. Let's try again. Square, square. You know what's easier to draw? If I do this. All right, so we could have a grid, but not every space actually can be occupied. So your tile can be sparse. Your board can be sparse. It doesn't have to be a perfect grid like this. And you can actually have little areas like this that are, what might be these little alcoves you come off in like so, have these corridors that come down like so, into new areas. Okay, so one of the definitions we have for our board has to do with how we occupy, how we define this thing. So I want to get our board right this time because I was running into issues last time. So I want to think the board sort of as an array. It's going to be a two-dimensional array essentially. Or you can think of it as indexable by two indices or indexable by a position. We'll look at it, but indexable by position. In those positions, you get information back out. There are two different types of things that a board can store. The first one are figures. So a figure can occupy one or more tiles. So a figure represents the tiles, the actual like physical size of an element on the board of a player. So it's going to be a hero or of an enemy. So a hero might take up one space. You might also have an enemy that takes up multiple spaces. So an enemy might be shaped like this. You might have some kind of giant lizard or basilisk that takes up multiple cells. You could have a dragon type creature. Let's see, do I have a purple color? I think I do. A dragon might actually take up 6 tiles like so. So I want to be able to represent taking up multiple spaces on this grid. I am going to do this in C#. Yes, I am going to do this in C#. Good question. I am thinking I'm going to do it in C# with Blazor as like sort of the editor up front. So it's going to be web-based. And we could potentially get it as a multiplayer game. I haven't thought entirely about multiplayer, but I want to define the entire engine in that way. And then I kind of want to see if I can turn it into a web browser game that you can play. David Winsons, welcome back to the stream. Great to have you here. But yeah, so that's the idea. We're defining out how the board works here. And so I think, so in addition to the figures, you can also have props in each cell. So you could have potions, gold, equipment. All of these will take up a single space, or potentially you could drop multiple at the same time. So each one of these takes up one space. I haven't finished writing the definition of these, but I would like to start out by getting my board done with the ability to put figures on the board, and the figures basically represent something that takes up space, kind of like a hero or an enemy, like that. AO and Dev, welcome back to the stream. Great to have you here on this beautiful Monday. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Welcome aboard. But yeah, we're gonna get this project cloned. I don't even think I have it cloned here yet. Let's close out some of these other things. But we've just been writing this down. Is height, altitude? No. So it's all gonna be on one level. No height, no altitude. You might have, so the only quote unquote height you might have would be this idea of staircase. So staircases act as like a teleport to a different location in the dungeon. In my world, it's going to be to a dungeon. So no heights. I'm not dealing with heights like Final Fantasy Tactics had heights, but we're not going to be doing that in this version, in this particular game. So there are two things that might teleport you around: staircase, and sort of moves you to a different spot in the level. And then a town portal actually returns you to home base, which is an area where your character, your heroes can purchase potions, purchase things, heal. So these sort of act as checkpoints throughout a scenario, throughout a campaign. So I'm super excited about it. This is sort of an extension of what we did before. Ladders like Ultima or staircase like Blood Witch. I think more like ladders like Ultima. I haven't played Blood Witch, Aowen. It's a good question. I think it's going to be more like staircases. So let me draw it on the screen. Let me draw something real quick so you can get an idea here. It would be kind of like the following. You might have a game where you're playing. All right, so we have a grid like this, and you have one area in the game, and you might have a staircase here. So there might be a staircase here, and the staircase might lead to another area that's not connected to this area over here on the map. Okay, so you would really treat the staircase in the following way, in that these two tiles are actually connected. You can spend one movement to move between these two tiles. So you can think of it as a staircase, you can think of it as a tunnel. They're not necessary. So typically you have 8 spaces adjacent to you. A staircase allows you to have one additional space next to you. So it's not a ladder in the sense that it can go up and down forever. It's instead, you can think of it more as an additional space. I went with staircase over ladders because then I didn't have to draw ladders over the view. What's easier with stripping drawing. Gotcha. Yeah, so ours will probably look like little staircases. You could do a little tunnel as well. But there's a variety of different items that can show up in here. The idea being that you'll play a full scenario. My idea is you'll play a full scenario in a big map. So it'll be a big map. You play one quest, taking turns and enemies, and the enemies, you moving back and forth, taking turns navigating through this dungeon. And then you might finish a level, and that might be part of a campaign. The idea is to build a tool that you can build these scenarios. Did I share the video link? I'm not sure if you did. Rap Time, welcome back to the stream. Congratulations on number 9, my friend. Great to have you here. So the idea Whimsically Made is that it's all one big, if you're out of combat, turns might be a little bit more fluid. Beegs, thank you for the hat. Let's get a hat added to this stack. Oh yeah. Thank you so much for the hat. So I am making this inspired by a game. So it's all going to be top-down 2D. So I'm making this inspired by a game called Descent: Journeys in the Dark, in which the entire level takes place in a tactics combat situation. So let me share my screen here. Let me share my dock cam real quick. Raptime says, after long fine time hanging out at your stream, how you doing? I'm doing absolutely wonder, my friend. Absolutely wonder. Oh, let's increase the size of that dock cam real quick. Hang on. We had shrunk it down. Let's fix this. Sources. Here we go. Dock cam. We shrunk it down when we were doing a little bit of drawing, but let's increase the size of that so I can talk about what I mean specifically. What specifically I mean. There we go. Okay. So the idea is you'd have an entire level defined out, something like this. So this is heavily inspired by a game called Descent: Journeys in the Dark. And so the entire level looks like this. You never actually quite switch out of. You never quite switch out of the tactical mode. There's probably always going to be a little bit of enemies around, something like that. Chance for enemies to spawn in if you're moving too slow. So the idea is you're traversing some dungeon, trying to get through as quickly as possible. So it'll probably be like some kind of time limit, or every so many turns, some random encounters happen to prevent you from staying still too long. You want to keep moving. The idea is you want to keep moving. You want to get through this. Yeah. So no, it's not going to switch out into another version. That said, I'm going to try and build it in a generic enough way where this could be reused in other places. If you wanted to make a game where there's sort of like an overworld map and you have small scenarios that run, I think that would be possible with what I have planned. So you might put together just some small rooms like this. So for example, in Cosmic Encounter, you're first person dungeon crawling, and then you move into a combat that is a much smaller grid than the one here. But I want to build a game that can handle this type of thing. Russell Flowers, no worries, my friend. Thank you so much for popping in. Russell Flowers over on YouTube. I hope you're having a beautiful day, my friend. Thank you for hanging out. Have a wonderful day at work. I hope it is enjoyable, stressful, and engaging. BK, I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Doing absolutely wonderful. I'm so happy to be back. Oh no, I hit the shrink button. Ah, my desk is shrinking. Hang on, desk. Come back up. Come back up. Actually, but my desk has an automated up and down button I accidentally pushed. 10K tiles, probably too many. Probably too many. But yeah, I want to build this out here, take a look at it, and see if we can get our board sort of defined with figures that can take up multiple spaces. Thindle, Mooniz, welcome back to the stream. Great to have you both here. No worries, Mooniz. Thank you for popping in. Thanks for being here to get those points. Thindle, I hope you're having a beautiful day, folks. You guys know the incredible, the unstoppable, the fabulous Cat Dad Thindle over there. Give him some love. I hope it's scrumptious. It's been scrumptious. It's been awesome.
Pretty much what
have a scrumptious lunch, G.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna hop in here.
Down.
We're gonna start writing some code. We haven't written any code yet. I can't write code yet because I'm trying to follow. I'm gonna try and follow this. Let's create a branch. We're gonna protect our main branch. So I've written zero code on this. We're gonna start here by cloning this repository. We're gonna try and follow the practices. So you guys get to watch me set up this whole project now. We're gonna try and follow some good practices here for doing this. Lance, great to see you. Welcome back to the stream. Julian, welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Happy Monday, my friends. Let's do a clone, get our project out here. The unofficial Twitch Dev community mascot. It's true. It's true. Absolutely, absolutely true, Thindle. Right? We got those mascots. You know it. You know it's true. You know it in your heart. Look in your heart. You'll see. All right, let's start by making a new branch here. Or let's start by making some, let's start by opening up some issues here for putting this together. We're gonna try and follow some good practice, try following our workflow. Our flowers 009, we got our flowers 009. Our flowers, welcome aboard. Our flowers, welcome to the stream. Great to have you here. I'm assuming you're coming over from the YouTube side of things. Great to see you, my friend. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Enjoy your work. Enjoy your work. I hope you enjoy your work. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we want to set up workflow / edit config, right? Edit config / test project. So just basically initialize this project into it. Ice Creek, Wizard of the Coast is making a Dungeons and Dragons simulator game. Have they not done that yet? Have they not done that? I feel like they have. Dungeons and Dragons on Steam, or is it just like a I thought they had like, you know, Roll20. I thought they had a thing with all the rules built in, like Roll20 but on Steam. Roll20 but on Steam. Isn't there a Roll20 on Steam that is done by Wizards of the Coast? I can't remember. I swear I used to. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's D&D Beyond. No. That's where people can publish their own stuff. Ice Cream, you got any more information about that? That sounds interesting. Sounds really interesting. We're going to use this to create our setup, our workflow. We're going to copy. We're going to create some other stems. Find a link. Yeah, I want to check it out. You may or may not know, but probably do, that I'm a huge fan of role-playing games. Dungeons and Dragons was my childhood, was a big part of my childhood. Yeah, so I'd love to check it out. My dungeon engine for ZX Spectrum, A. Owen, very cool, very, very cool. It's an they're doing it in Unreal Engine 5. Gotcha. Oh, can't log into Facebook. I don't know why it tried to auto-populate some stuff there for me. I didn't realize that was a Facebook link. Let me see if I can open it up on a different browser over here and then share some screenshots of it. Ooh, this looks cool. Let's see. I think it's... How do I do it? I can never remember the hotkeys here. Give me a second, and then we'll take a look. Oh, I need to update a few things. Hang on, folks. We're going to go into secret mode real quick. Screen might do some weird stuff. Give me a second. All right, we want to do this. There we go. Skydriver, I'm doing wonderful. How you doing, friend? I hope you're having a beautiful day. Welcome to the stream. How do you feel right now? Oh, chat, asking how the chat feels. I think we're feeling pretty good. Hopefully everyone's having a beautiful day. As good of a day as can possibly have, given any circumstances that you may or may not be experiencing. You guys know I want to see you having a beautiful day. All right, hang on. How do I enable this? What's the shortcut hotkey? Sorry, folks, hang on. I'm trying to figure it out. Why crop and lock Control Shift T? I swear I saw that. Control Shift T. Let's try again. Control Shift T. Oh, this is like Control Shift T must be a hotkey in No, what's going on? Hang on. Really annoying. Ice Creek, I'm so sorry. Let's give you permission there. So sorry that got you. Let me get that link going. Thank you. Let's see if we can get that open as well. Ooh. All right, we're gonna watch this while I get some stuff going on the other screen.
Hey, how's it going?
This is amazing.
You guys ready to play some D&D?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So we've got 4 really cool characters here. Is anyone thinking about anything specifically as you're looking at these?
I'm thinking Dorbin. I like his beard and I want to be a bearded man today.
Nice. All right, so you can...
Are you having fun dragging him around?
Oh yeah, it's a blast.
I've actually had the sorcerer I've been wanting to play for forever. Is there a way I can just port it in?
Yeah, is it on D&D Beyond?
Yep.
Okay, sweet. There we go, all linked up and ready to go.
Woo, huzzah!
There's a lot of ways to play D&D online, and not all of them are hitting the big 3 things that we think were important: fun, convenience, and authenticity. Hello, welcome to the inn. Have a seat. I'll get some
This looks a lot like
refreshments. What would you
Tabletop
have?
Simulator, but
Nice grog would be nice.
specifically designed for Dungeons and
really
Dragons.
warm. I was standing real close to the fireplace. You have good wood. The wood is good.
I wonder how
Everyone
they're
hears scratching
if they have
noises in the
voice
walls.
built right
Barton's
in like
"Damn
Tabletop
rats,"
Simulator
and kicks
does.
the wall.
I'd like to roll perception to see if I can figure out where the sound is coming from.
Yeah, so you want to go to the walls and kind of look around. Fire breaks out. The whole inn shudders a little bit.
Dorbin, do the rats you encounter normally move buildings?
Not
I'd be
anyone that
curious
I've
what the
seen.
cost of this is. I know that they had a tool where you would pay, and one person had to pay, like the dungeon master had to pay, and then everyone else just had a client and they could connect. And I thought that was cool. This looks like it could be really good. Yeah, Aowen for VR stuff. Aowen, here's what Aowen sent us. Got this first person. I like the Dungeon Crawler Construction Kit demo. Aowen for the ZX Spectrum. ZX Spectrum. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. Very, very cool. Very cool. I love when you move, it has like the little redraw effect on there, so you can actually see the movement even in these screenshots. I really liked it. 100 acres. I wouldn't trust Wizard of the Coast not charge an arm. Like, look, they wheel, they deal in arms and legs. They wheel and deal in arms and legs. How else are they going to get their room full of arms and legs? Or a dragon's horde? That's a good point. It's a good point. Maybe only a kidney and a dragon, G says. Look, all you need is a kidney and a dragon, and then you'll be good to go. Let's get this set up. I had a template. I had a template. .NET templates. Can we see all the templates we have installed? Does anyone know the command I run to see what templates we have? .NET show templates. .NET new list. Yes, thank you. .NET. You're correct. New list. But I want to show just the templates I've added. So I wonder if there's a list of show the installed templates. So not the default ones. I want to see, because I added a template specifically for some of my projects. All right. .NET show new list. What is the flag I put into it? All right, hang on. There's going to be a flag. .NET new list help. Author. I wonder if author. What did I use? Captain. There we go. There we go. We got a bunch. Default project using. All right, Captain Coder project. Captain Coder project. .NET new Captain Coder project. I think. Force. Yeah, let's go ahead and force it. I'm pretty sure. Oh, let's open up this folder here. I'm pretty sure this will auto-magically get ignore. Yeah, so it gives us a good get ignore. It gets us a decent editor config set up for us where the tests are ignoring certain things that I don't like, but I want in other spots. It creates a test project for us, model, console. It connects the solution for us as well. All right, so it gives us sort of the game model. It gives us a console runner. But we're going to have to rename some of these things. Free Revivify with every kidney removal. We'll get a free, yeah. So you got to say, look, we know those dungeons are dangerous because of the dragons, and you might die. And Revivifies are expensive. I think they require a diamond typically, right? So they typically require a diamond. Is that true? I remember in the old Dungeons and Dragons games, you needed a diamond to get revived. And so if you died before level 8, you were just kind of screwed. It's like, all right, well, you didn't make it far enough. You don't have enough money. No diamonds for you. Okay. Model isn't quite what I want to call this. This is going to be our board. It's going to be our board. So I want to come in. Let's do a .NET on remove model. One thing that I saw, Nick Chaps just made a video. They're making a cool, I don't know if cool is the right word. Let's go with board. Tactics.board. Oh, come on. Renaming stuff sometimes does that for some reason in this, what is this? VS Code. Often renaming it gets like caught up in renaming files. I don't understand it. It's like a conflict against itself. All right, so we'll do that. Then we got to do a .NET, rechange this to model. This will be tactics.board. And really I should do captaincoder.tactics.board, right? And we'll consider this whole project here. I'm actually gonna call it board. We're gonna consider this whole project captaincoder.tactics. So these will all be captaincoder.tactics. Rain, Noyen, Rain, thank you for the hat redeem. Let's get a hat added to the stack. Thank you so much for the hat. Folks, do you guys know Rain? Do you know the fabulous, the incredible, the wonderful Noyen Rain? Go check out that stream. Noyen, what are you working on these days? How's your projects? How is everything going for you, my friend? Tell us all about it. I want to know. I need to know. It's on a need-to-know basis, and I need to know the basis here. All right. So we have that. .NET SLN, .NET SLN add board. Okay. I'm wondering, I'd have to enable new features. There's like a new SLN format that they're coming out with. .NET SLN, a new format that I'd like to use. When to use .NET new? There's like an SLN, .NET SLNX format. The new SLNX format. They have like an XML version. Yeah, does anyone know if I can use that? I think it's in preview, so I probably shouldn't use it on a new project. But I kind of want to give it a shot. Do you know how to enable that for... I probably need to update to .NET 9. Okay, so I can't do it with .NET from the terminal yet. Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense. It's a brand new feature. It's just coming out. .NET SLNX format command line. Hang on, let's see. Let's see if they'll let us do it. Because I know you have to switch to Visual Studio, like a later version. Yeah, new Visual Studio SLNX solution file. I'm wondering if you can do it from the command line. But look how much nicer this looks. Look at how much nice. Please note this currently no option in the net CLI. No. All right. That's okay. We'll just have to live with the ugliness that is. All right, let's go into our test here. .NET. In this config file here, let's get rid of this, and then we're gonna add this in .NET. Yeah, it is planned add reference, so probably we'll get it hopefully in November. Hopefully get it in November. Part of me thinks I'm gonna be using Visual Studio for this project anyway, because I'm going to be doing Blazor stuff, and I don't like doing Blazor stuff outside of Visual Studio Code is not ready for Blazor. I'm done trying to do Blazor stuff in Visual Studio Code. I'm done. I tried it with my class. It doesn't work well. It's a horrible, horrible, painful mess. Not worth the effort you have to do to keep things working. Other things I can keep going in there. So we're going to add a reference to the board. Let's do a build .NET. Oops. .NET build, get this template project set up. All right, so we're missing a little bit. Oh, in our console project. Good thing we didn't set up a website with Blazor. I know, right? Well, I did when I was doing that. I was actually doing that in Visual Studio, I think. .NET. All right, let's come up to this one as well. It's just painful. 100 acres. It's just a little bit too painful. All right, we'll remove that. And we'll add the board there. You guys were using code. Yeah, it's a bit painful though. .NET build. Sorry, .NET build. .NET test. All right, I think we have our base project set up here. I like it. I do love the lightweightness of it. I'm on... Here's one of the spots where I'm going to run into trouble is I do work on Mac. I do work on Mac and Linux, and Visual Studio just doesn't work on those systems. There's no version of it. So Rider is an option. We'll see what happens. Maybe I will tough my way through it. Git commit -m chore set up base solution. All right, set up our base solution. We're going to push this up like so. Let's go ahead and get this merged in. So I'll show you all the things that this supposedly has. So this workflow I have set up base solution. I have it set up with a default project, which should run. It should kick off some actions here. Yeah, here it goes. So it's going to kick off some actions, and it's going to give us some code coverage. So it's going to give us code coverage results. It's going to run the test and make sure this thing compiles. So that's a big part of why I put this template together, so that this is a project. It's open source. Anyone can contribute to it. Anyone can open issues for us. Anyone can make pull requests. And then we have some, not 100%, some level of validation coming through on this project. Let's see what it spits out here in a moment. With our workflow, I believe in you. You believe in me. You're my build process. Coming to my comments report. So we got that build in. All right, so we get a little bit of a comment report saying, hey, tactics.board, 100% code coverage. We don't have to go with 100% code coverage. I kind of want to see if we can get some mutation testing and stuff in here as well. But this will help give me confidence if someone makes a pull request in of, hey, do the things that we had previously continue to work, and gives us that confidence. So I like that. All right, so we have our base project set up here. We're going to merge this in. I'm going to set up and enforce myself to do these things. Let's come back over here. Check out my main branch. We're going to pull. I'm going to go ahead and add in some safety measures here. So we're going to add in a rule, branch protection. We're going to say we cannot pull into the main branch. Main branch require a pull request, so you can't commit directly to the main branch. No Rain says, the other day we were talking about if game devs use unit and end-to-end test lot. Love that you have them in the templates. I am trying to practice. I have found, and maybe I've just become better at game dev in general. I'm better at programming in general, which is probably true over the last year. I have found when I do unit tests, I feel like I'm saying do a lot today. Maybe I normally do that and just it doesn't come through my ear too much. I have found that when I do use unit tests, I just feel better about the code I write. I feel more confident in the code I write. We've been doing it. I really went for it on the Capman project, and I will say I felt the benefits. I felt like I reaped the rewards of doing so. I know, Lance, we do it. We require approvals before doing a merge here into main. We're going to require that our status checks pass before merging into main as well. Okay, so what this will do is anyone who, oh, hang on, hold on. All right, give me, I don't think this actually works. We'll find out. Hey, that does work. Okay. So we have this, oops, wrong button. We do have this branch protection now. So I actually cannot make changes to my main branch. I have to do it through pull request. So forcing myself to do good practices. Lance, thank you so much for the hat redeem. Let's get a hat added to the stack. There it is. Thank you so much for the hat. Okay. So with that in mind, one thing I will say, thank you for the joy. One thing I will say is the using tests. I have found that you kind of have, it forces you to think through your problem a little bit more. I have a bad habit of just hopping in and starting to write code like a madman and over engineering and over complicating. I have found that by writing tests, it actually helps me scope down what I'm doing quite a bit. At least that has been my experience over the last couple projects. So I'm going to start by trying to implement this board, and we're going to do a little bit, I wouldn't call it fully test-driven development, but test guided by tests, making sure we have confidence in what our board is doing. But our board here is going to be 2Ds. What do we want our board to do? How do we want to be able to interact with our board? We want to be able to define a board shape. We want to be able to add new elements to the board. So the board itself is a data structure that has these properties. It has a set of 2D tiles, which can be occupied, right? So a tile is a position that can be occupied. So I'm going to start off by writing myself a little test in here. All right, so we're going to create a new folder. We're going to call this board. Okay. Create a file in here. Board should. And I'm going to make, I'll steal this as a template here. Board should. Oh, it's interesting that we're using model because of that. That's okay. Probably going to be using board. All right. Board should. And one of the things I want my board to do it's going to have, and it's probably going to be a theory, but we'll start out with a fact here. Ooh, this is interesting. My autocomplete's not working. I'm going to have to probably reload here. Board should, and we want to be able to construct it. Board should add tiles. Right. So when we put things into the board, we want the tiles to be. So we're going to create this here. This is going to be the under test. Wonder if I can get it to do it this way. That's how I prefer to do it. Also now try to add basic end-to-end. When I make a game, moving around for a few steps and click through. Yeah, make sure that your user input continues works. Another thing you can do, I don't know if you're using Unity or what platform. Unity has a cool a testing feature. It's called playtests, where you can actually record yourself playing a level or going through a level. And then you have these sort of regression tests. Like, can I still beat the level using that exact set of user input? So it'll record your user inputs at a high delta rate. So it keeps track of your delta time as you play. It says, okay, we're going to re-emulate this using those delta times. So it captures the delta times and we'll replay the level and make sure you can still add things like, okay, this variable changed at this point, that variable changed at that point. Those ones are a little bit more finicky, right? If you do that, it's a little bit more finicky because those are much more prone to break as you change stuff. But if you want to make sure that level is still playable in the same way, then it's okay. Those can work. All right, so my autocomplete, something weird's going on with this. Board doesn't exist. So let's start here by creating a board.cs class. Namespace captain coder dot tactics engine tactics engine dot board. I'm debating. This autocomplete's interesting. I feel like I'm not sure if that's Copilot or not. I don't even know if I think it might be auto implemented here. Just automatically turned on by default. I'm not sure. This should be using. This should actually be in captain coder dot tactics engine dot board dot test. See if it'll build. And I feel like that makes sense. It's really more convenient and also confidence. Yeah, it gives you the confidence when I see gameplay itself and it works. Yeah, so you can go back and you can watch it. We're not going to update our workload yet. .NET test. I think I need to reload Visual Studio Code. Here's the thing. Visual Studio Code likes to do this, where it sort of like loses track of your solution, how things are connected, because I modified the solution file and then it can't get caught up. So it's having a little bit of a developer burp or something in there. Come on, detect these keywords. Please detect the keywords. Please give me syntax highlighting. Oh my goodness, come on. There we go. Give me a little bit. This should be a different color. Maybe not, maybe that is the color I'm expecting. No, this is the color I'm expecting. There it goes. All right, took it a second. Got it caught up. Here we go. All right, so a board is sort of thought of as a data structure. At least that's how I'm thinking of it. It's indexable. So we should be able to add tiles. So we're given a board under test. I want to be able to do the following under test. Under test, I kind of been thinking of this as a dictionary. I want to be under test, and then we're going to say set a value, add tile, and we're going to give it a position. Add tile 0, 0, adds an empty tile. There's nothing in this tile. Under test dot 0, 0 dot. We should be able to pull this out. What is the interaction I want here? What is the interaction that I want here? Tile equals this. We just should kind of be able to do this game here. Two nerdy nerds tactics game. That's right, two nerdy nerds. How you doing? Great to have you here. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Under test, we're going to do under test.has tile 0, 0. This is sort of the interaction I want. We add a tile and then it has a tile, and then this dot should be true. This is the interaction that I want here. All right, very simple. We should be able to add tiles to the board, and then we check that does it has a tile here when we do it. So here's we're doing AAA testing arrangement. The arrangement is to create a new test. Then this is the action. We add a test, and under test we check it whether or not it now has a tile inside of it. All right, folks, you guys know the incredible, the fabulous, the ultimate duo. Two nerdy nerds, go give them some love, folks. Incredible game developers working in Godot, making some fabulous games. That's not my drawing pen. Here's my drawing pen. Boom, click that heart, give them some love. Two nerdy nerds, what have you been up to? I've been out of town, but it's great to see you. It's great to see you. Those two nerds, you'll love them. You'll fall in love just like I did. Exactly, the nerd alert here. So let's go ahead and we're gonna generate these methods. Right, add tile, has tile here. Okay, so our board has these two things. Our test will fail, saying that these are not implemented yet. And we're gonna take in an X and a Y to give this thing a tile. Okay, so this should really be an X. This should be a Y. As tile on an X and a Y. So we're having some positions here. So now I need to think, okay, under the hood, what does this thing look like? What does this thing look like? I think I just want to create a hash set of positions, a hash set of positions. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna create a position.cs here. And I'm gonna use my classic record here, public record struct position int x, int y. It's just a record to keep track of two variables, x and y. I'm making it a struct. It's a very small data type. It feels like it meets the requirements of a struct. So it has an x and a y there. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna add this into a hash set. That's what I'm gonna use by default. That's my starter here. So my board is going to have a hash set of position, like so, positions. And we're just gonna add this in. We're just gonna add it in here. Oh, it wants me to use the new syntax, this syntax here. Okay, and add really just becomes positions.add. And then we're gonna come in new position x, y, like that. Okay, and then our has tile really just becomes a check. Does it have contains new position x, y, like so? Drives me nuts that it capitalizes when I have a single letter that way. Okay, it wants me to make this read only, so we will. Struct store data only and not methods. No, you can store methods. You can put methods in there. The main difference, Whimsically Made, great question, is a struct is a value type, whereas a class is a reference type. So this gets allocated on the stack, not the heap. And so you want to be careful about how much information you put in. This is basically like, oh, well, I have two integers. I want to treat this literally as two integers. Just spilled a little bit of coffee here. Give me a second. Grab my roll of paper towels here, wipe myself up. We're revamping our UI, getting through it one day at a time. Two Nerdy Nerds, glad to hear it. If you got some screenshots for us, feel free to send them along. We'll take a look. It's just a little splish splash, just a little splish splash. I was taking a bath and I spilled a little coffee on me. Okay, so this represents a position on our board. So we have our X, Y here, like this. And now I believe this test will pass. All right, nice simple thing. Let's just verify it. Keep these nice simple things going. Okay, we have it. We're good to go. All right, so we can add a position to the board. We can add a tile. We has a tile. The question is like, what a tile needs to have a little bit of information about it. So there's gonna be this idea of like, well, we need to be able to retrieve a tile as well. We need to be able to retrieve. So this is sort of adding an empty tile to us. We're gonna be able to add tiles. This is complaining, should begin with uppercase. I thought, hang on, my editor config perhaps is not defined correctly. I think I need to do this in my editor config to make this work. Let's try reloading. So my template might actually need to be updated here. It's close, but not perfect. I'm messing up my workflow. I meant to show you that, hey, I wasn't gonna be able to commit to my main branch. Hang on, I wanted to come back here. I got too excited, I got overly excited here. We want to implement board. Board should have tiles. It's sort of like the issue that we're implementing, have tiles. Okay, so this is gonna be like our get are set and have a little bit of information about a tile as well. Okay. So let's create a branch for this. Otherwise, I'm going to run into trouble. I almost messed this up. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to create a branch. Copy this. All right. At the very least, we get an illusion of movement when we're doing this. All right, there we go. Now our editor config is going to ignore the bad, I believe, the bad conventions that we're going to be able to put into our test, because sometimes we want our test to be formatted in a way. I like to have my test names like this. Should add tiles. Come on. VS Code, I believe in you. VS Code, please. Look up for everything, for all that is holy. All right, our tests do pass. Let's turn it into a theory though. Int X, int Y. We'll swap these in for X and Y. X and Y. And our theory, we don't need to have too many of these, but we could do 0, 0. I want to show that 1, 5, -2, -3. Something like that, just showing that it works with different numbers, and we can think about the outcome of this. So a test communicates how this thing should be used, as well as the the post condition. What does it do? This actually makes us have a tile. Yeah, the theory syntax is really nice, really useful here. So you can quickly add multiple tests that follow some list of parameters, the same constraints here. So that way I don't have to write add tile this, add tile that test, add tile this, add tile that test. And these work independently. So it follows some good practices in that unit tests should be isolated. They shouldn't affect each other. A way I might have written this before would actually be to write 3 different methods, or to be less good and like actually do one test here, then do another test, then do another test underneath. Okay, so I like that. Our board has tiles. Now, the idea of what a tile contains is important. So we have another class here. I want to write a method. Look, one stream at a time. Look, I'm doing this more than it. Yeah, we're trying. So I want this ideal of a tile information, tile info. So we're gonna get information about a tile back, and info is gonna have some information inside about it. Tom, welcome to the stream. Great to see you again. I'm gonna get you, and if you don't listen, we're gonna get you. That's right. Get tile. We have an int, we have a y, and we're gonna do a throw new not implemented exception. And I want to think about, what does tile info get us back? What does tile info get us back? What information does a tile have? And we need to think about that for a moment. We're gonna write a test about it. Thank you for the hat, Tom. Let's get another hat on this stack. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Oh, this hat's a little squashed. It's a little squashed. There we go. Thank you for the hat, Redeem. I appreciate it. Wrong button. Our tile can contain a figure and a prop. It can't have more than one prop. So there's like layers in our board. We have a figure layer, we have a prop layer. We can have both a figure and a prop. Okay, so a figure represents a like character on the board, so a hero or enemy. It represents the positions, the space that they occupy on the board. And props represent things that you can interact with or that modify the state. So for example, treasures, we have healing potions, we have energy potions, we have golden equipment. Those could occupy a space. You can use those. These are things the player can pick up. In my mind, this is a free action. If something is in that spot and the player occupies that space, free action to grab it. All right, no, it doesn't take anything extra to grab it. Containers, so I'm thinking of chests, maybe boxes. Containers, you can occupy the space. If the player's in this space with it, you can use actions to open the chest, right? So you can use 2 movement to open a chest. We might make it so you can smash a chest open, something like that. Then you have obstacles. These typically inhibit movement or line of sight. Rubble, for example, inhibits both movement and line of sight. Water inhibits movement but not line of sight, so you can actually see over the water, but you can't move over the water. Maybe we'll make it acid or lava or something like that, but this actually prevents you from going across. Pits, you can spend, normally it would take, so let's say we have a pit here. Let's look up here. Let's say we have a pit in this position. We'll have a rubble in this position and a rubble in this position. Okay, so we have a player. We have a player here. This rubble, do I have a black color? I wish I could draw in black. Apparently I have. The player, normally it would take 1, 2 movement actions if there was no pit here. But with the pit here, the player actually has to spend 3 movement to jump over the pit. All right, so a pit makes it harder to get over. Additionally, you can spend 1 movement point to go into the pit, 1 movement to go in, and 2 movement to climb out. A pit can be used as sort of additional strategy stuff there. When you're in the pit, you only have line of sight to adjacent spaces. Okay, so if you're in a pit, you actually can't attack things unless they're directly next to you. But things can shoot into the pit. So the pit, you have line of sight into the pit, but not out of the pit. So 1 movement to move in, 2 movement to move out. You can also do 3 movement to jump over the pit. You can kind of think of that as moving into a pit and then out of it. So pits act special in that way. Rubble, they don't block line of sight unless you're in them. So these are like different ways that these interact with the environment, creating different strategies, different environmental conditions that have to be met. All right. We'll also have staircase temporals. These let us transition to different areas in the map. Okay. Ramble, but I want to think about what tile info has in it. What information does a tile contain? Trench warfare tactics game. Exactly, Toms. Exactly. Now you're thinking. Now you're thinking with pits. So that's the basic idea here. My main goal right now is to think about figures. What is a figure can be contained in it? So a tile info here is going to have information we get. So we're going to get a tile. It's going to return a tile info. And then we're also probably going to write a try get tile as well. What should I be able to test here? Right. So public void should have tiles. That's sort of what this is doing. Public void, I want to make it, our board should retrieve tile information. Okay. Like so. We'll think about our setup and then the retrieval. I know it's going to seem a little bit weird. It's going to tile information. We want to be able to get empty tiles. When we add a tile, it's going to be an empty tile. Let me think about what tile info looks like. Tile info. This is in our test. Sorry, delete that. Up here in our board, tile info. So we can inspect the tile. What does that have inside of it? Position here. Actually, I need to put this in namespace captaincoder.tactics engine. Tile info namespace captaincoder.tactics engine .board. Okay. What does a tile info contain? We need information on whether or not it's occupied, and if it's occupied, what is in that tile? What occupies that space? And so I can think of a few ways to approach this. So I could have one tile, and I don't think I like this. So the question comes down to, like, how do I want to interact with this thing? What do I care about in this? And I think I want to basically, let me think here. board should. What does it return if there is no tile? Board should retrieve no tile if no tile. All right, so if we say get a tile and there's no tile there, we should get back an empty tile. Retrieve no tile. So I kind of want this idea of if that spot doesn't exist on our grid, the spot doesn't exist on our grid. So we have our grid like this. Let's draw a few elements. We might have some grid, and I'm bad at drawing grids, so bear with me. All right, we might have a shape like this. All right, so this might be 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. If we retrieve 0, 2, is that an error? Is that an index out of bounds? I think I want it to return something called no tile. So we'll get a tile back and it just says, hey, there's nothing here. There's no tile here. I think it could also be useful to have empty tile. Okay, empty tile. We could have a tile that contains a figure. So the tile information, there's a no tile. We need to know if there's actually a space there. We need to know if it is unoccupied. I'm not sure empty tile here is necessary, but we want to know, is there a figure as figure? It's going to have a has prop. Okay, and if these are true, we want to be able to get the figure out. Get figure. Okay, and get prop. These are sort of the things a tile needs to be out. So whether it may not be an empty tile would just be has none of these. Instead, we might call this just tile info. Right, a tile info here is either no tile or something that has these properties. Has these properties. Okay, I think I like this idea here, and so I'm gonna create a new effects like it's on fire or something. So my tiles, we might end up having events in them, right? So there's probably going to be special tiles, but I'm trying to keep it a little bit simple. Here's what I have so far for my board definition. It props here. I think fire would fall under the props definition here, right? So we have obstacles, rubble, water, pit. And so we might have a fire prop or a lava prop, or a prop that when the player moves into it, they're interacting with that prop, or an event happens when they move into it. So yeah, I don't know that there's an effect, but there may be a prop in that position that does something. And at some point, we may end up changing it so that you can have multiple props. But I'm trying to keep it kind of simple right now. You can have one figure, one prop. So that's sort of the definition I have right now. You know, that prevents some things like, well, what if I want to have a potion, but also a flame trap? Or a potion and a spike pit, that sort of thing. In the current definition, you would not be able to do that. That would not be a thing you could do. So this is telling me I actually need to come in. I need to write a test here for my tiles. Tile info should, and the question becomes, do I have? I think the information I need, a public interface tile info. Like this is our tile. It follows sort of this interface of, we could also say it has a position, an X and a Y, but I want to have the following properties. All right, it needs to have a bool has figure. So we need to be able to ask the question, is there a figure here? Public bool. Is there a prop here? And then public, and I haven't defined what a figure is. We need to be able to get a figure if we have one. And we need to be able to get a prop if we have one. So that's sort of the definition that we have. And we haven't defined what a figure is. We haven't defined what a prop is. We have a little bit information about a figure. We have a little bit of information about a prop, but these are definitely going to be sort of interface classes that we can potentially use to pull out and have additional information of like, well, a enemy figure is going to operate different than a hero figure, but they both need to occupy space on the board. Different props interact different ways. And so this may also be a good spot to create an eye figure and an eye prop. We're not 100% sure what that means. Okay. But I'm going to create an eye figure. Call this eye tile info here. And namespace captaincoder.tactics.board. Public interface eye figure. Okay. And we'll create a the other one was eye prop. Okay, and these will have information in them as well. So has figure, has prop, we can get the figure, we can get the prop. Now we have a definition for these things on whether or not they are valid. All right, so we have this high level definition here that lets us now, without knowing the implementation, say, okay, well, on our board, we're gonna get back a tile info. All right, so when we get a tile, we're gonna get back a tile info on it. This still doesn't feel quite right, because I want this idea, I want the empty, and then I also want like an actual implementation of it. Or I want like the idea of like having no tile. The lack of a tile needs to be there. So part of me wants to do the following. So we're not getting back a tile info, instead we're gonna get back a tile, and I want to create a record that looks like this. So public record tile. It's gonna be an abstract record tile. So we can get back a tile. We know that if we call get, we're gonna get a tile back. And then we have public record no tile. All right, so this is a lack of a tile. And we have one public record tile with info is sort of what I want. Tile with info. So it's not a tile info. Maybe it is just a tile info. Tile info. And this implements iTile info. And we give this, part of me doesn't like this, iFigure, an iProp. And this extends tile and iTile info. And we have to now specify that has figure. Yeah, so I don't like this because it's telling me that I'm going to require a prop and a figure. Although we could do the same thing where we say figure, there could be a no figure and a no prop. Ooh, I kind of like that. I kind of like this. All right, so we're going to end up with a figure and a prop. And these can be a no figure and these can be a no prop. Ooh, I think I really like that. So rather than having this has property, we can kind of get rid of this. We no longer have to check has. This just becomes figure. And this just becomes prop. Okay, I think I like this. I think I like this. And then I may not even need this interface. What do you think about this? A tile, there's either a no tile or a tile info. Let me get rid of this. I think I really like this version. Return a tile. Okay. So let's see if we can write this test here. Board should. The test I want is if we have no tile, we get back empty tile. Public void. McNex. It's always wonderful to see you here, my friend. I hope you're having a beautiful day. McNets, how the heck have you been? Happy Wednesday. Welcome aboard. Welcome back. Great to see you. Right. We should have a tile here. If we've not added in, where'd my test go? Let's change this back to tile. All right, there's gonna be a tile. What is it complaining about? Already contains a tile info. Interesting. What did I do? That's weird. The best Monday ever. I'm so glad to hear that. Glad it's such a superb Monday. Board should return no tile. Retrieve no tile. And we'll do the same thing here. Int X, int Y. We have this under test like so. And the test is going to be if we call under test dot get tile at XY, it should return, that's going to return a tile actual. And what we want to do is say actual dot should be no tile. This is what we should get back. Okay. So if we call get tile on an empty board in any arbitrary position, I kind of want to start using like some quick test things. Quick test would be nice to generate tests for us. Maybe we'll learn a little bit about that today. I've used it a little bit, but the idea being that when we create a board, if a brand new board, any arbitrary tile we get should return no tile. No tile. Okay. If you're, McNets, if you want to tell us why you're having the best Monday ever, feel free to do so. You don't have to, no pressure. I'm just curious. Okay, so we have no tile here. The easiest solution is just to return no tile like this. Okay, just return no tile. These will pass now. And it'll become obvious that this isn't going to work for us when we move on to the next step of like adding a tile should retrieve a tile that is empty. No figure, no prop. Okay. So public void retrieve empty tile. Right. So again, given an arbitrary position, if we add a tile at that position, just make a game with no tiles. Code mug, boom, done. Ship it, guys. I'll see you in a month. See you in a month. We done did it. Okay. Yeah. So add tiles here. We want to test. So I'm tempted to add in here. I'm tempted to add in an additional assert here. All right, under test, after we call add, we should have a has. Get tile XY. And we'll call this tile actual. I'm alive, I feel good. Isn't that a good read? That's a wonderful reason. Feeling alive, feeling good. It's an absolutely wonderful reason to make it the best. So actual here, dot figure. You know what? Needs to be a tile info. All right. So actual dot should be, and we need to create a new tile info. This is telling me, all right, so this should be a new tile info. And what we have inside is no figure, and no prop. Right, so we need a thing called no figure and a thing called no prop, like this. Okay, so we have a no figure, we have a no prop, and we should look like this. So this tells me that instead of figure here, I'm gonna do a public record figure, and then we can make it abstract. Okay, I'm gonna do a public record no figure. So this is the distinct lack of a figure. Okay, same with our prop, public abstract record prop, public record no prop. It seems like the game is writing itself. It's helping me a little bit, I think. All right, I think it's helped me. So now our tile info, I can switch this to figure and prop here. So I don't actually have the interface type here. I'm not sure if I like that or not. Type of namespace, I figure, we got rid of that. Okay. Like so. So when we add in a tile, we should be able to get tile. The tile that we add should have nothing in it. So it might be worth adding a little comment here. So one thing you're testing or describing how to use your code, how the code should be interacted with, and like what the side effects are. All right, so this is really what we're testing, adding a tile. Adding a tile adds an empty tile to the board that contains no figure and no prop. Okay. One thing we might do, a little optimization we might do is might hash this. We might create a figure. One thing we could do is do public static figure, and really I do call it a no figure. Public static no figure. We might do something like this just to cache it, so we're not having to call new every time. And so this could become figure dot no figure. Part of me wants to rename it none. Figure dot none. I kind of like none. Ooh, I like that. What do we feel? You know what? Yeah, it's still a no figure, but it's called none. I'm not sure how I feel about that. More tests. That's right, Dramux. That's right, Dramux. We're writing tests, keeping ourselves sane, keeping ourselves in check, trying to make sure we understand our problem and we don't over-engineer. Right, so I started creating interfaces that felt like over-engineering. All right, let's reduce it. Let's shrink it down. Let's make it smaller. Let's make it simpler. No prop, no figure. Same thing here. Public, static, no prop, none. New, no prop, like that. So the lack of a prop. Yeah, so if we have a no prop, and then we can do prop dot none, and then for tile, I'm gonna do the same thing for tile. Public static no tile none. Like that. So it looks a little bit like an enumerated type in my mind. Looks a little bit like an enumerated type because we have this algebraic data type we're using. Okay. It creates an empty tile. All right, so an empty tile has no figure, has no prop in it. And now we don't have to do the like Boolean and checking for null and having that sort of stuff. We just have a data type that represents the lack of something. Okay. Whimsical says, I wish you could mark a module for testing and run your game and capture a snapshot of the inputs, outputs of your classes and functions. You can just copy and paste them into a test file to generate sensible tests. Can we do that? You could engineer a way to do that, right? I don't think it's built in, but I think you could engineer a way to serialize those things. Yeah, I think you could engineer a way to serialize it. That said, you know, what does that actually mean at the end of the day? I'm not sure. But yeah, so it'd be nice. I know you can do some of this. Zen Grease, thank you so much for the follow. Zen Grease followed me. I wanna thank you for following me. Zengris, welcome aboard. Zengris, if I'm pronouncing it incorrect, feel free to correct me, but welcome to the stream. Happy to have you here. If you do a debug, you can almost do that, right? And you could like serialize using JSON, but serializing the entire state of a game can be very, very different. Pronounced James, gotcha. Let me add a little note here. James, welcome to the stream. Great to have you here. I hope you're having a beautiful day, my friend. Happy Monday. Welcome to Captain Coders Academy. We are working on our tactical combat game. And we're just starting out. Today's the first day we're working on it. We did a little bit of defining what it is, and we're working on like, what does the board look like here? What are the definitions? Right. So we fail here because when we get a get, it's just gonna throw this exception, right? Just throw the exception. Get tile can't always return a new tile, a no tile. Instead, this kind of becomes a dictionary from positions to tiles. Like this. Comes a dictionary to tile. When we add a tile, we actually want to add in a new empty tile. Okay. A new empty tile, and this is sort of telling me that in my tile here, I can also have a public static tile info empty. All right. Oh, something weird's going on. There it goes. Equals a new tile info, and then we're gonna put inside of it a figure. Come on. Figure dot none, prop dot none, like that. Okay, so a tile needs a figure, it needs a prop, it can have a none, it can have a sum. We could also, I actually think I like this a little bit better. I'm gonna do a small refactor here to make it a little bit easier to create a tile info. I'm gonna do a public figure get init, and so this will be figure, and this will be figure dot none. Public prop get init. So we can still construct it and set these, but now they're optional. So this would be prop dot none. I could swear it was a Mongolian name. Interesting. All right, so now we can construct it like this. We can also specify it by still setting it this way. So we could still create a figure and specify it during construction, but now it's optional. We have some default values for it here. Our board, when we add this, so this is interesting. So I have some exceptions I need to consider. Now, but for now, we will do a new, this would be a tile.empty. All right. And when we're going to check if it has a key, contains key. And then here, we actually are going to return, and this is where things are going to get a little bit tricky. We're going to try get value of the position. And we're passing in our X, our Y, and then try get value. Is it try get try get defaults. Get value or defaults is what we want here. You position X, Y. And the default value we return is actually tile.none. All right, so we've just crossed a threshold here. We just crossed a little bit of a threshold here of this will no longer work if I decide to do a Unity-based game. This method is a .NET 6 method. It is not a .NET standard 2.1 method. So I just crossed a threshold. I'm not sure if I care enough about that or not. Do I intend to do anything with Unity is a big question here. Do I intend to do anything with Unity? That's a tough one for me, because if I decide I want to do some 3D stuff or I want to take this and put this into Unity, I can't if I choose to do this. So I think I'm going to force myself in this module here to be net standard 2.1 and see how much that drives me crazy. Okay, so and then I want to do Lang version 12. I'm not planning to use it in Unity, but I like the ability to be able to. So I can tell you that Unity is running using a fork of Mono. So Mono is an open source version. So they're interesting. We can use any version of C#. Which .NET libraries we can use is where we run into trouble. All right, Mono C#. Mono Project is a cross-platform open source .NET framework. So many moons ago, .NET was Windows only. .NET was Windows only. And so this, let's go to their GitHub, was an open source, what I should say is an open source implementation of the .NET framework that you could run on any platform. That said, I think they stop at C# 7 features. It might be C# 8. Unity uses a fork of this, and that fork has like up through C# 8, a little bit of 9, so people call it like 8.4. That said, .NET provides, so what I'll say about that is if you use Net Standard 2.1, you're well within that range. You're well within that range. I think they use Net Framework 4.7.1. I can't remember exactly what it is, but Net Framework 4.7.1 on Windows, I don't think that works with their web builds though. And so if you stick to Net Standard 2.1, any DLLs you produce can be dropped into Unity and will work. I have not run into any issues with that. You can actually take NuGet packages, and if they are compatible with Net Standard 2.1, you compile it for Net Standard 2.1, you drop it in, they work just fine. That said, you get all the language features if you specify which version you want. So I can use language 12, which gives me features. One thing you'll notice here is these records. It says, oh, by the way, this isn't valid unless we add in, oh, might have to do this as a set. Maybe I don't want to do Net 8. Maybe I just want to say, okay, I'm not going to support Unity. Maybe that's what I'll do. Anna's Error 404. Welcome to the stream. Anna's Error 404. Welcome to the stream today. I'd like to thank you, Anna's 404. Thank you for following me. Can't remember except it's version 4.7.1, but it's released on July 7th at 2:14 p.m. Anis, welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Welcome aboard. Welcome to Captain Coders Academy. All right. So there's a little bit of a thing here that I don't like. I want to be able to use these cool new features. So let's just say, oh, it was meant to be a joke about, sorry, oh, 4-7. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Whimsically Made. I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna say we're not gonna support Unity. We're not supporting Unity. Lang version 12 though. All right, I am gonna cross a boundary here and say I am not going to support a Unity build. Do I want to do that? Do I really want to do that? I have to decide. I don't want to make this decision. And I'm a senior and I'm very bad at the moment. Hope I can get good. You get good by practicing daily, putting in those hours, grinding away, get that muscle memory, do those reps, get that stuff in. Walks in. Great to have you here. Thank you. Congratulations on your number 14 and welcome to the stream. Init Us Intuus. Is it Init Us Interactive or Inituus? Init Us Interactive. Welcome to stream. Happy to have you here. Init Us Interactive. You know you're great today. Init Us, thank you so much for being here. And it's I like your energy, man. I like your energy, 404. I'm having a great stream. Thank you for popping in. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We'll do our best to answer them if we have. If I can. I can't always answer them. So it's your joke about how you were saying you cannot remember specifics, and then I said like 4.7.1. Gotcha. I think that's what if I don't quite. Enitus. Oh, Enitus. Let me put a little note here. Enitus Interactive. Enitus. Welcome to the stream, my friend. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Enitus. I got it. First try. Easy. How many people want to hear me say Enitus over and over? Sorry about saying, just repeating that over and over. I hope you have a beautiful Distron. Welcome back to the stream. How's your game coming along? Wonderful to have you here. I'm so torn. I'm so torn on whether or not I want this net standard 2.1. I am so torn on this. All right. We're gonna make it. I want to do it in the web. We're gonna force ourselves not to make it a Unity game. Thank you for the sus. I'm gonna force myself not to do it in Unity. I think I rely on Unity too much, so we're gonna force ourselves not to do it. All right. Only 4 more days until the opening of the Steam page. Awesome. I'm excited for it. Can't wait to click that wish list button, Distron. Cannot wait. I guess I have to though. I can't wait, but I have to. What is this complaint? Does not match constructor. So check it out. Now this constructor here, this is what I was gonna show. All right, so figure equals prop equals like this. Perfect. Today I was testing the game on my Windows XP system. It worked. It worked perfectly. I'm glad to hear that. You know, you really want to make sure your games are compatible all the way back to Windows XP. Here's the real question. Does it work on Windows 95? Does it work on Windows 95, Distron? That's the real question. Oh, I'm going to get rid of that. I forgot. There's some weird effect here. Hang on. That note about doing poorly drawn, I don't like that one. We're going to take it off. Where is that? Is that right?
Whoa.
Holy moly, Clayman Dev with the raid. Clayman Dev. Thank you for raiding me, Clayman Dev. How are you today, folks? Do you know Clayman Dev? Give him some love, folks. Clayman Dev, incredible game developer working on. What were you working on your stream today? So many hats. Look, I'm a man of many hats. I'm a man of many hats. Folks, if you guys don't know Clayman, click that heart. You should get to know him. You should get to know how Clayman's defending us from the moon people. Were you working on today, Clayman? Were you working on Epic Hero? If you got a raid and run, no worries. Working on Epic Hero game, or perhaps you were working on your tower defense game. Tell us all about it. Let us know. What'd you do? What'd you do? I gotta know. All right, we'll do that. All right. We are working on our tactics game today. Multi-thread and ragdoll physics. That sounds way hardcore. Sounds way hardcore. We are working on a tactics-based combat game. This is our first day. We're day one, tactics-based combat. Here, we're inspired by our submission to the Dungeon Crawler Jam. So we are working on, let's rename this just figure. Rename this one just prop. We have made a bold decision not to use Unity for this project. So we're gonna see, well, it's a bold move, Cotton, but we're gonna see if it pays off. We're gonna see if it pays off here. Let's get rid of these math utils. We don't need you. That was part of a previous, that's just part of our setup. All right. Position, prompts, okay. Pure C#, that's right, pure C#. We're probably, yeah, we'll see if it pays off. That's a choice, NanoDev. I know it is a choice. It is a choice. I want it to, it is a choice. We'll see how it works. We'll see how it works. Maybe a mistake. I just want to use the fancy features. I want the fancy features that I always am lacking, and I don't want to deal with it. Oh, maybe I should make it Unity. Maybe I should make it so that we can use Unity. I use Unity in a very weird way anyway. Need to decide. I guess I'm not going to decide right now. I kind of need to decide right now, because if I want to use it with Unity, I need to do this right now if I want to use it in Unity and fix these things. I don't think a knit is allowed afterwards. Tactics combat game seems pretty complicated. I have a good definition. Of the rules. I haven't written them all down on the wiki, but it's going to be based off of, it's going to be extending. So we voted on it. People voted on it and they decided that's what they wanted. So probably working on it about 6 weeks. I think my scope is to finish this game, this tool, by June 14th. That's my plan. So my game jam starts on June 19th. So yeah, that gives me 8 weeks. 8 weeks, that's the plan. It's big enough that I think that I'm gonna need that time, but I don't think it's so big that I need infinite time to do it. So setting myself some deadlines I think is important for scoping, keeping the scope relatively small while also, Distron, think of it more of as a tactics combat engine. So it's not a whole game built with that engine, but instead a tool that you could use it to build a game. And this is where like maybe making it Unity, accessible to Unity might make sense. Yeah. What are you complaining about? Is external net, did I modify the wrong thing? No, net center 2. This should yell at me here, saying that these cannot be knitted. It should be yelling at me for other things. Let me go look at what I did on the other project. Exactly, whimsically made. That's exactly right. 8 weeks of dev followed by 5 years of not actually finishing. Seems to be the go-to here. Let's go into Dungeon Crawler Jam 2024. Solution. Want to look at what I did here and still that. I just find working in Unity to be so cumbersome. So I try and work out of Unity as much as I possibly can. That's just like my preference. Okay. So I need to bring in my net 2 hacks. Right, so I need this. This is what I need to be able to do what I want to do. I still don't think I can use a knit if I do this, but we'll try. Create a new folder. Net 2 hacks. External, what is this? Is external init. is external init.ts. Okay, so can I use init still? Okay, so it's gonna let me use init. .NET test. Shy programmer, how you doing? How are you on this day today? This was the wrong project. Let's kill that. .NET test. Does it still build? Does it work? The type or name says model. Could not be referenced here. That's fine. This should just basically be nothing in here. Console.writeline. Hello world. A little sick, but I'm sure I'll get over it soon. Good. I'm glad you'll get. I'm sorry to hear you're sick, but I'm glad you're feeling like you're gonna get over it quickly. That's important. So you're feeling like you're potentially on the up and up, which I love to hear. All right, so our board, all right, here we go. We add an empty tile. Congratulations on your number 15, Shy Programmer. It's pretty good, not bad at all. So we're able to add tiles, we retrieve no tile, and then the other one is basically be able to retrieve and put stuff in the tile. Thank you for the hat, Redeem, Shy Programmer. We're about to take a break, so I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna put this hat on, and when we come back, I'm gonna get a little bonus hat for you. So when we take a break, all the hats come off. But with this hat started, oh, it's backwards even backwards. Look, get the little danglies. We're gonna take a quick break here. We just added in a basis. We're gonna do a commit, I believe. Let's go see. Did we satisfy what I wanted to satisfy here? Board should have tiles. Okay, so the board has tiles. We can add them in here, like so. We're gonna do a commit. Okay, and we add in the big git add. Git commit -m. So feature board should add tiles and retrieve no tiles. Okay, so that's the feature we just did. Fix it. 42 has rated us today. Fix it. 42 is here, you know. Fix it. Welcome to the stream, folks. Give Fix It 42 some love. Fix It 42. Fix It 42, what were you working on your stream? We're about to take a break. We are working on a tax game here. It's a couple hats. Zombie Monkey Martin, welcome to the stream. It is a couple hats. Glad you noticed. Keeps my head warm. Keeps my noodle nice and tight in there. Got to keep those noodle juices going. Noodle juice is gone, so that way we can program well. Fix It. If you got any links for us, if you got a raid and run, no worries. If you've got some links for us, feel free to drop them in the chat. We're about to take a break, but we are working on a tactics-based game. I'm about to do a pull request into my projects where we have tiles. So we're currently working on implementing this part of our board. We're gonna have to figure out what a figure looks like on our board, like so. And then some definitions of that. Lance with the bonus hat. Uh-oh, we are gonna take a break. So Lance, we might have to add we're gonna have 2 hats when we get back. Thank you for the hats. Thank you for the hat, Santa Barbara there, keeping us safe. The warm noodle, yeah. Keep the warm noodle juices going. So we're working on creating a definition for our board here. A board can have figures, which are like our player characters, and our NPCs kind of. So heroes and enemies are sort of what I'm thinking. We have heroes, we have enemies. Maybe we need some idea of an NPC, I'm not sure. And then we have props. We could also treat those as props as well. And so props here can be things we can add. So we're writing our definition. So how does our board work? We have some ideas of how our board works. Our board is just a data structure for containing the state of the game, the state of the board, the state of what the player can see, the information we have. All right, so that's sort of what we have here. I am gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna keep going. Don't go anywhere. Captain Code will return. Hang tight. Don't go anywhere. All right, folks, Captain Coder's back. Captain Coder's back as promised. Gonna get Lance, your hat back on the stack. And we had one other hat there. I can't remember who was it. Lance and Shy Programmer. Thank you guys so much for the hats. We're gonna get those hats going on here. Let's get some stretches in, folks. Let's get some stretches. I know during DC Jam, when we were playing those entries, we didn't get a lot of stretches, but let's get on up. I'm going to encourage you to stand up with me. Take care of yourself. Love that body.
You in the back.
The way
Pay
it deserves
attention.
you. Stand on up, but we're going to get some stretches in. Going to go ahead and stand up. We're going to start with a trunk twist. Get our arms up at the side. We're just gonna rotate at the hips to keep legs shoulder width apart, pointed forward. We're just gonna rotate back and forth, nice and slow. See if we can get that stretching in, taking care of our body, taking care of ourselves, loving ourselves, because we're lovely people. You're a lovely person. You deserve that love. Oh yeah, just nice and slow, back and forth. Tom-toms, that's okay. If you don't want to get those stretches, that's all right. I just want you to know that I love you. I want you to take care of yourself, get that blood flow, maybe just stand up. Get those arms up in the air. We're gonna lean slowly back and forth, left and right. Just caring for ourselves. Trying to at least get up, moving around a little bit. Get your coworkers in here with us, get them stretching. Get your mom, get your dad, get your cousins, get your uncles. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, let's do some shoulder rolls. Get those shoulders up, back, and down. We're rolling back. 2, 3, 4. Add the elbows. 2, 3, 4. Full arms. Yeah. 2, 3, 4. Roll them forward. 2, 3.
Seems good.
Nice. Elbows. 2, 3, 4. Full arms. Yeah. 2, 3, 4. Oh, shake it out. Yeah, that felt good. Felt good to get those stretches. I feel like I haven't done those in a while. Oh, just nice little movements. Get that blood flowing a little bit. Taking care of ourselves, loving ourselves, because we deserve it. You deserve it. You're amazing. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining me. We're going to do a points. 125 points to all you beautiful people out there. Thank you so much for joining me in those. Captain Cardio, that's right, Art. Art, welcome back to the stream. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Patrick, thank you so much for popping in. I appreciate the lurk, as always. As always, appreciate the lurk. And then I missed JD. Apparently JD came in. JD Does Dev, I missed you. My chat log says you came in. I don't see your chat. I don't see your chat. It says you arrived. There he is, exclamation point here. Congratulations on your number 16. It must have been right at a moment when I was popping out. JD, how you doing, friend? Let's give you some JDs. And JD Does Dev. Let's give you 5 JDs. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you're having a beautiful day. I saw it. Now I see. I had to scroll up. See it. Is Ludum Dare over? Are you still working on your Ludum Dare game, or did the submission already happen? If not, well, anyway, about to try and finish. Gotcha. Well, good luck with it, folks. Be sure to go give JD some love. Incredible human.
If you want to feel
incredible developer,
like you're
working on Ludum Dare. Ludum Dare.
If I could do
Ludum Dare
impression.
Ludum Dare. The game jam, the big one.
Not the captain, but my eyebrows also move in a way like the captain.
Gotcha. Doing the 72-hour one. That's just too intense for me during the school year. But yeah, be sure to give JD Does Dev some love. Working in Godot. How's your game come along? You feel like you're gonna be able to finish? Be able to have a thing? You're gonna make it through? Art, also glad to have you here. How have you been? I'm only just awake. Sure, I get a big stretch in when I just wake up. Good for you. Good. I'm glad you were here for that. Yeah, see, the Dungeon Crawler Jam was 9 days. I was able to pace myself and then spend 72 hours, the last 72 hours, crunching. Otherwise, you just have a full crunch, and then you overscope. It's too easy to overscope a 72-hour thing. 72 hours is too much. 24 hours feels like the correct size for a short jam to me. That said, I have done Tri-Jam a couple times, and Tri-Jam has been fun. Tri-Jam is the 3-hour game jam. All about scoping. It's all about scoping. What can you do in 3 hours? You can plan as much as you want, but the actual time spent writing code, working on the project, and the editor should be limited to 3 hours. So you can stretch that a little bit. That one happens over a weekend. So I do like the Tri-Jam. Maybe I'll do that in the future. I can't do it on stream. It's just too distracting to get that much done on stream. Okay. With an ideal in 3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours. Code. So there's a little Tri-Jam is great. Tri-Jam itch. Dances with Dirt. Welcome back to the stream. How you doing, friend? So here's Tri-Jam. I think this is such a cool idea for a game jam.
Can you make a game in just 3 hours? Yeah, actually, you can. TriJam is a challenge for you to make a playable game, a prototype in just 3 hours, and it takes place every weekend. The jam is designed so you can find any time from Friday till Monday to work on your project. You can do it 3 hours straight on a Saturday evening, or do it an hour a day, 3 days in a row, and submit it, whatever fits better in your schedule. The goal of TriJam is to practice game development and improve your skills, such as planning a project, executing and delivering a playable prototype. Now about the 3-hour challenge. Things like planning, preparing, the build process, designing an itch.io page do not count towards the 3-hour limit. This time is reserved for development. For example, writing code, designing assets, testing and bug fixing. What it does, it allows you to improve your project management skills, because the better you plan your game and prepare, the more you can do in the 3 hours. Also, TriJam enables you to practice a very important skill, focusing. When you're developing your game, there's no time for distractions. You gotta stay focused. You are free to use any tools you feel comfortable with. You can even use pre-made assets and work in teams. Just remember to properly attribute the authors. Set your own goals for TriJam and participate regularly, and you will improve. We have seen it over and over again. After you have submitted your game, you will have time till Wednesday to play, comment, and leave ratings on other submissions. There is a competitive aspect to TriJam, but it's secondary. It's still fun. We keep a hall of fame of previous TriJam winners, and there are lots of them. Remember, TriJam's weekly, and at this point it's important to mention you actually can exceed the 3-hour limit. TriJam is about practicing game development and improving your skill set, so if you fail to wrap up your project, finish it, submit it, and try to beat the challenge next time. Join our thriving community on Discord, check out playtesting streams on YouTube and Twitch, and let's make awesome games.
Yeah, so I've done this one a couple times. I like it because the idea is not to sit there just sitting in your code editor working. The idea, and I love this, is to step away, move away from your computer and write down. It's interesting when people say that's a lot of pressure, because I honestly think I find this to be less pressure than a 72-hour jam, because this really is, you get a whole weekend to do it. It's just how small can you scope it down so that the amount of time you spend writing code is 3 hours. That's the whole idea. So I've made some really cool ones. I've been wanting to do this one again. It is a lot of planning, exactly. I've done a few game jams here. A few of the TriJams. Burger Boss. So like, this is one that I made. Fast Food Fast Dude was the theme, and it's just building this burger thing, right? So I spent a lot of time writing out what are the things that I need to do, thinking about it. So the idea is you have these ingredients across the top, you got to put them on the plate. As they get over here, as you get better, the conveyor belt gets faster, right? And so like, this was one of the first Unity games I ever made. I've often wondered if I am fast enough, dude. Yeah, are you a fast enough dude to make burgers? Okay, so, and this is, you can find the streams here. Does this actually have my streams of this? That's funny. I did stream this. It might even be on, so like, this was a long time ago. Before I even was streaming, I was like, okay, I'm gonna force myself to do it in 3 hours. Anyway, it doesn't include the time you spend planning. It doesn't include the time you spend making your itch page. It doesn't count the time you do a lot of these things. So you can get a lot done. Malfunction is another one I did. Do I have this one streamed somewhere? Source code is up. Yeah, so like things like this, shorts. In my mind, there's a lack of pressure on these ones. The 48-hour ones, I feel like is just too much. I have way too much time to waste, that I end up wasting a lot of time and spending a lot of time staying awake trying to do things. My camera feels like it's at a weird angle. Hang on, let me fix that. But that's like my opinion. I do really bad dudes. All right, are you a bad enough dude? Okay, so what were we doing? Where am I? Who am I? Oh, I'm in the wrong. All right, close that. I was gonna make a pull request and then I didn't. Bummer. I pushed everything but didn't make a pull request. Should add tiles and retrieve node tiles. All right. So this one implements that particular feature. Next, I want to be able to add figures to the board. Board should should be able to add figures to board. Okay, so this is the next thing I want to be able to do. Be really happy if we're able to get this much done today. Create a board. We can add figures. Figures can occupy more than one tile. They have a width, they have a height, and they have a position that they exist on the board. Shy Programmer, have a beautiful day, my friend. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Remember to keep coding, keep growing, keep being the best you can be. You're welcome back anytime. We'll be back on Wednesday. New schedule, folks, new schedule. So it's Monday, Wednesday, Saturday now. My new work schedule is a little bit more, I forget what we were demanding than my schedule was. So if you come over to the schedule, we've updated. It'll show it in your local time if you come here. Monday, Wednesday, Saturday are when I'm streaming for the next 8 weeks. And then we'll probably switch to a much more open schedule after that. But because of my school load, my workload, I have to cut back a little bit. Something has to give, and streaming's the easiest thing for me to cut, sadly, as much as I love it. But just a heads up there. Also, folks, speaking of incredible streamers, be sure to check out Art Berklis, creator of the amazing Warlock's Gauntlet, custom 3D game engine like the classics hack and slash sword and sorcery style game. Go check him out. Watch him create this engine live on stream. Engine specifically for this game in C++. Awesome stuff going on over there. Be sure to check out. Today's a gaming day. Nice, Shy Programmer. Nice, glad to hear. So I want to be able to add in figures here. Let's see if this pull request has finished. There it goes. Let's go ahead and merge it in. Perfect. Thank you, Dances with Dirt. We're going to see how it goes. As much as I love streaming, I got to be careful with it. All right, so you'll notice my code coverage on my position. I still have coverage of everything, but position's not being tested, and I'm kind of okay with that. Because our position is kind of a silly, a simple class. It just has an X and a Y. What testing do I need to do with that? I don't care about the testing on this, so I'm okay with that. Okay. Get that merged in. Everything else getting hit. I kind of want to add in mutation testing and stuff at some point. Adding quick test would be good. I wonder, maybe, let me get this figure thing going, and then we can look at that. A figure represents the tiles that a hero or enemy occupies on the board. A figure represents the amount of space something takes up on the board. So it can occupy multiple spaces, has a width and a height, and then our board needs to be able to have a position of where that figure is. And we sort of want, I have this, I don't think the figure actually knows what position it's in, right? So let me, if I'm thinking, and this is, I found this to work really well for my chess game. On a chessboard, the pieces don't care where they are standing alone. It's in the context of everything else that's important. So the board tracks that information. The piece doesn't care. The piece just knows how big it is. The piece has information about how it, it just sort of is. And so I think I want to define my figure in that way. A figure is going to have a width and a height. And then our board, right? So we have an abstract record figure. We have a no figure. What did I do with my prop? I had no prop. Oh, tile was. We have a figure, and then we have a figure info, I suppose. So I think I'm gonna start out. I need to be careful here. I think I'm gonna wait a bit before going to the store. Very windy outside. Wind can keep you inside. That's, yeah. I'm not a big fan of the wind. Loud. My dog's not a big fan of the wind either. I need to consider. Figure is literally just defining this space. Okay. at some point it needs to have a reference to the stats, to the information about what that represents on the board. So I want to consider some stuff. Shy, I'm very light, so the wind can just blow me away, just whisk you off into the aether. Want to be careful. I want to carefully consider what I'm doing. So I'm thinking about this as a board game. All right, so I'm thinking about this as a board game. Let's go to the doc cam while I think about what I want to consider here. All right, turn on my doc cam. So here is a board. Here's a board. Let me grab a figurine so that we can put it on the board. Hang on, I'm still here. I'm just in another space. Still here. Don't worry. I'm here. I'm just grabbing. I have so much stuff here in my closet. Hang on. Give me a second. I'll be right back. I'm still in the room. Just grabbing all the gaming. Cool. Okay. All right. So we have with a slightly bigger board here. We'll do this piece, this tile here. Even connect them like that, right? Okay, so this is our board. We have some space on it. Now, the question becomes, what does a figure represent? So we take a figure, we place it on the board. We have a figure on the board here, like so. Put my beast man down there. I have a figure on the board. We have a player, takes up a figure on the board, takes up some space. There are some larger figures as well. Let me get a larger figure here. Oh, I don't have my cool painted pieces. Or it's in a different box. Hang on, I want to find my cool. There we go. That guy. Okay. So, a figure can occupy multiple spaces. Let's see if we can get the lighting a little bit better in here. Not lighting better, worse, too bright. I'm gonna turn that light off. Where's the light? Let's try turning that one off, Too dark, there we go. It's all right. Really dark in the room for me now. So the figure doesn't actually have, so I'm trying to think about like, how does the data look? We do have a hero character, we do have some enemies. They can take up multiple spaces, but the figure itself just represents the space it occupies, right? It's just the space it occupies. The information about the enemy is actually kept separate from the board, kept separate from the figure. You just have a reference to it. So for example, this, let me find the card here. Where's the card? Here it is. This ogre, for example, their information is actually stored on this card here. It's completely separate from the board, but there's a reference. There's a reference between these two things. And then the card actually just has like the base information. Instead, I track, so if we had two ogres, I would track those things separate, and then there'd be a reference saying, here's the underlying information, here's where that guy is on the board. Exactly. I think if the grid map stores who occupies which location, collision checks become easier. Exactly. So the board is just, so when I think about a figure, The figure is just a representation of, well, I take up this much space. The board actually keeps track of where it is. This figure over here, if I separate it out, if the card also knew where it was, then it becomes easier to move. I don't know if that's true. So we do need to be able to reference which figure we're thinking of, right? Which figure we're thinking of. I think we need a reference. So at some point there is an abstraction that says these two things are related, but that information doesn't have to be the object that keeps those together. Isn't necessarily the figure, right? There's sort of like a board controller. The human at the end of the day keeps track of that information, typically on a piece of paper or a space where you have like tokens you mark things down on, right? So I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. I don't want to over-engineer it. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. All I care about at this moment, I actually don't care about these things. I don't care about things. I know it's coming. I know it's coming, but I don't care about that. All I care about is the space it occupies. So I think at the end of the day, or at least for now, the simplest solution is to make it so my figure doesn't actually know. Does my figure know its XY position? That's the decision I'm trying to make. Does the figure know its XY position? And I don't think it does, because we can actually have two. I think the board is tracking it. The piece does. Here's why I say that. The piece doesn't care. I can't put two pieces on top of each other. If I give my piece my location, it needs to know about other pieces to know if it can occupy. Exactly. This piece, if it knows about its position, it needs to know about all the other things to know whether or not it can be in that spot. This piece can't, these two things can't occupy the same space. And if they're tracking their own position, that means that they need to be aware of the things around them to change their position. Whereas if the map knows the board says, well, I know where things are. I actually know everything about the layout. I have enough information to tell you whether or not you can do that. The piece itself actually says, okay, well, I'm this big. I occupy this much space. And now you can control where you put me. So I think that's how I'm logicking my way into it here. The map, does the map have 4 pointers to the 2x2 arch or 1 pointer? I want the board to reference the states. So the board is our data structure. There's a couple things I want. There's a couple properties I want. Okay, board should have tiles. Hang on, let's get this checkout main. Oh no. What change have I actually made here? I don't think I've made any. Okay, so I haven't made any real changes.
Whoa.
The Dev Dad! We cooked! I haven't set up my doi yet for you, Dev Dad. But I think I can run it a couple times. Hang on, does it let me run it? Here, we got the Dev Dad coming. Do I have the doi face? Here we go. Here, this is just for you, Dev Dad. Oh, it doesn't let me run multiple at the same time? That's so sad. Hang on, we gotta do it manually. Oh, hang on. Don't go anywhere. Dynamo. Dev Dad, how you been, my friend? I know you got a raid and run probably, but thank you for popping in. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Here we go. Here they come, yeah. There we go. I can turn them all on at the same time like that. There you go. Just for you, Dev Dad. All right. I hope you're having a beautiful day. If you got a raid to run, no worries. I hope you're doing well. I hope your stream went well. We cooked. I know I haven't said it. There they go. I clicked it so many times. I bet it's going to be coming through over and over. Okay. Hang on. Let me get my main. Oh boy, that's just going to be happening for a while, isn't it? That was a mistake. All right. And then we want to delete this branch. All right, and then I want to make a new branch based off of this new definition here. Grumpy, welcome back to the stream. Grumpy, thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for your streams. I appreciate it. Thank you for Saturday. You know, I've been itching. I've been itching since then to do so. I really want to work on the next phase there of that little project. So I'm actually quite excited for next time. I feel like we made some fun progress. I had fun. I hope you had fun. Billy Iconda, welcome to the stream. Akira, welcome to the stream. JB the baby, nice to see you. Shy Ryan, great to have you here. We are working on a tactics-based combat game. I've been enjoying it quite a bit, Grumpy. We are working, this is the day one of our tactics-based combat system that we're working on here in C#. We're sort of defining it, figuring out what we need to do to make it work. And right now, so we've created a data structure called board. Board is made up of tiles. You can add empty tiles. I want to be able to add figures to the board and occupy space. Figures cannot occupy the same space as other figures. A figure has a width and a height. And I'm trying to decide if a figure has a position on the board. Part of me thinks they do. Part of me thinks they don't. And I want to consider the repercussions of making figures have a position. So here's one thing, easier to identify. If you give the position to the figure, when you add it to the board consults that position and tells you whether or not you can put it there. To move a figure, maybe we could do that. Maybe that makes sense to put it in there, to store it inside. The one thing is, I'm trying to make immutable data. To move a figure would be to update the position of the figure on the board. Yeah, you can have tokens refer to their position and have it be sufficient. You can have a tile be aware of its token and that be sufficient. So I think about how I did it in a chess game, right? So in a chess game, it was really nice. It was very convenient to say, well, the pieces have no idea about where they are. You end up doing both and live with the overhead. I got away last time. So in my cosmic encounter, the board knew where everything was. The piece didn't care. So so we might need both for quick lookup, quick reference, right? And so the question comes down to, so here's a board I have. These can't occupy the same space. If I want to move this piece here into this position, right? These two guys can't occupy the same space. So suddenly this piece, to know whether or not its position is valid, needs to know about the position of all the other pieces on the board. So that is where my argument that the piece, that the figure doesn't care. The figure doesn't care. The board cares about the position. The figure doesn't care. And then if we modify the state of the figure, then there's a reason to have cell and piece know about each other. If your pieces have equipment and stats and stuff, then there's a reason to have cell and piece know about each other. They will have that information. But that feels like a combat. So like there's a so this is me trying not to over-engineer, right? I'm trying not to over-engineer. Only I can make the dot cam work, whimsically made. I think I might make it so the mods can do it. Maybe mods can do it. I'm not 100% sure. Same with blur. You can't see me, can see me. Can't see me, can see me. Should probably be unblur. But yeah, so there's sort of this definition there. And I don't think I think I can defer the decision a little bit. I do know that the board needs to know the position. At this point, I don't think the figure cares, but the board needs to know. so that it can have logic on whether or not it can put a thing somewhere, right? Pseudo, you got it. All right, give it. What's your pseudo Whimsically Made? Enter your pseudo password now. Enter your pseudo password now, so that we can verify that it's you. I do know that a figure has a width and a height. Okay, so we have a figure. It can be a no figure. It can also be a figure info, like this. So the creature doesn't care. The player who is controlling the creature cares. And they observe the board. This is where like we're separating data, right? The creature observes the board and asks, do the rules allow me to do this? The figure doesn't care. The figure is literally just the space that it's occupying. The figure says, I'm a width and a height. Where am I on the board? Something observes the board and then asks questions, right? So it comes down to like, how much information do I want an object to contain? The figure doesn't care what it can target, right? The figure, in my mind, literally is the definition of I take up this much space, and later will probably be, and I look this way on the board. The board, the person controlling the board actually observes the board and says, okay, here are your targets. This is what you can target. The figure actually doesn't care. Napalm, I hope you're having a beautiful day. Happy Monday, my friend. So I think my figure info happens to be a figure, and it has the following. It has a public, a width. By default, we're gonna make the default width 1. On these. So the default width will be this, the default height. Yeah, there's, you know, some information about like, we want to be able to tell two figures apart that have the same width and height. So I think it also wants to have a name. So I think we need to be able to give it a name. Alternately, an ID. Right, so how is it represented? What does it look like? This is where like having a name or an identifier, I think, will be important. Correct, Grumpy, that's correct. It's a projection into board space. And so this is like when I was, you know, if we look at the board game here, this is the example I give. I have this board here, and I shouldn't have put the card away because now I have to pull it back out. Okay, if we're separating information onto it. So I have this board here. The ogre, this is just a representation of where the ogre is on the board. All of the information about the ogre is actually somewhere else, right? It's off to the side of the board. This actually is like contains information about what an ogre is. So this is like the ogre card. Then on a piece of paper somewhere else, I actually track, okay, this ogre here, I might actually, you know, put something in. So the metadata representing your card knows about the figure. Exactly. It knows about the figure. And so at some point we need this, but right now I don't. I'm just talking about the setup of the board. Exactly. Fresh Meat, congratulations on number 18. Welcome back to the stream. Congratulations on your daily points there, daily bonus. So that's the idea. I'm trying to keep it separated. You got to keep it separated to keep it simple. I'm not 100% sold on solid, but single, the S feels pretty good. Keeping things as close to single purpose, has one purpose, is I think a really good goal to try and achieve. It doesn't always work out, but having a single purpose for each thing, I think is quite good. But yeah, this is the projection. So it's a figure info and it's on the board. Don't forget your list off substitution. If you ain't got that, you ain't got any. Yeah, that's my favorite one. My favorite one is being able to swap things out. And that's what I'm doing here. So I have a figure. It can be a no figure or a figure info, right? And so this is going to allow us to swap these things in and out as time goes by. So if I go and look at my tile here, right? I have a tile, be a no tile, have a tile info. A tile info has a figure in it. It says like, I'm going to be a figure. And right now we just have like this generic definition of a figure with a width and a height. If later I decide I need to add some stuff, I could potentially say, okay, well now I need a new type of figure. I need a new type of figure. I can swap it in. But yeah, also no, I typically call that one the strategy pattern, but it's essentially the same. In my mind, though, that's what it is. Strategy pattern, Liskov substitution, really important for being able to grow your project as the complexity grows. Okay. So figure info is just, you know, a spatial representation of what's there. And a visual, I think there's some visual information on it. I think I want to add in a string to this as well, or an ID. We'll get there. Before I start over engineering, let's get there. Let's think about how do I want to be able to interact with it. I want to be able to put add figure to board. So a board should add a figure. Okay, so I want to be able to add a figure onto the board and occupy some space on it. All right, so we're going to have an X and a Y where we're going to place the figure. We need the figure as well, or information to be able to construct the figure, right? And so I'm just going to start out add figure. It's going to be a simple 1x1 figure that we add in. Add 1x1 figure. So keeping my test symbol as well. Okay. And in this case, I'm going to go with just 2 positions. I'll go 1, 2, -2, 3. We need this tile to exist to be able to add it in. Okay, so we need a tile to exist to be able to add it in. We could also come up with like a test board that has space on it that we know ahead of time. And so part of me wants to be able to do that, have a board that has positions. So we have a board under test. And our board, our setup, we must have a tile at the XY position where we want to add something. So this is telling us what our precondition, this is our range, like so. And then our act is going to be under test dot add figure at XY. And we need a figure to add. So given an X, given a Y, new figure, like so. And I'm going to make this figure have a width. Whoa. Thank you for the raid, Proton. Welcome back to the stream. Proton, incredible human being, streamer. Welcome to the stream. Great to have you here. New width equals 1. Height equals 1. Just to be a little bit of explicit about it. Okay, cannot create an instance of the average. Oh, this should be a, what did I call it? Figure info. Okay, and I need a better name. I feel like I need a better name than figure info. Oh, maybe the abstract type should be a figure info. Maybe this should be figure info and this one should be figure. That might make sense, actually. I feel like that makes more sense to me. So we'll do a little of a refactor there. But add figure is going to look like this. We call add figure. The result of the test, under test dot get tile at the XY that we just added a thing. Doing Amiga lately as well. Absolutely, Proton. Absolutely. How's your demo coming along? Did you finish your I know you've been working on a demo stuff there for a while, but what are you working on these days? Tile. So we should, this is our actual. Now I want to pull this out a little bit. This is going to be our figure to add. All right, so I'm going to do this. To add. New figure info. I'm going to swap that out here. Add this in. We get the actual back. Actual. We should actually be able to cast this as tile info. All right. Let's do a cast. So it should give us back a tile info. And our actual dot figure dot should be to add, the thing we added. So this is the test of it. This is what I want it to look like. If we have an empty board, this is our setup. We have a setup here. This is our empty board that we're creating. If we put with exactly one tile, we put a figure in it, we should be able to add it in. We should be able to get that figure back out. Dance with Dirts asks Proton, have you played Doom? Dr. Doom's Revenge. When I was a kid, my friend had that game on C64. Dr. Doom's Revenge. Haven't heard of that one. Let's generate this method. Okay, so our board's gonna have that. We should fail this test. It should compile, but it should fail. I think we've gotten rid of all the red squigglies. Okay. Board does not get a different add figure. Oh, it's because I didn't hit save. There we go. So there's like layers here. There's some layers here that we gotta examine. All right, so we have 2 failing tests. So we have this set of positions with tiles in them. We did the demo and released it at Revision Demo Party in April. It became the 4th in the Amiga demo competition. Congratulations, 4th out of, do you have a number? How many people were participating in that? That 4th seems quite impressive. 4th feels quite impressive to me. That's awesome. That's awesome. If you got a link to it, Proton, feel free to send it along. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a refactor. I'm just gonna call this tile. Okay. And we'll do tiles dots. Tiles really of new position XY. Like this. Equals. We should be able to just set this figure here. We create a new tile info. And the new tile info, our figure is going to be to add. All right. So this is the simplest thing we can do to get this test to pass, I believe. And then we want to think about, okay, well, what are the other things we want to be able to do with this? What are the other things specifically? Okay, so if we try and add a figure at a position that doesn't exist, if we try to add a figure that already has something there, what are the exceptions? What are the things that should happen? And really we want to have like a try add figure there. There were 3 people working on it. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look. Let me pull this up here. Getting in the habit of blurring things before I pull it up on screen. I make mistakes sometimes. Yeah, Whimsical Man, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing you place a fat object and check if it exists on all the tiles it does. Yeah, so we're gonna have to come up with a data structure that knows how to do that, right? So this is why I'm like doing it one at a time. Yeah, we shouldn't be able to add something. This is why I'm starting with a 1 by 1. And then there will likely be some refactoring we have to do, right? I'm really curious. So part of me is thinking to manage this internal state, I am going to have a thing that tracks the occupied spaces. And I have some ideas on how to do that, right? I have some ideas on how to do that efficiently, right? So it's all about managing the data, keeping that data in sync under the hood. All right, Proton, your pal of offense, Fig and Fairlight. Let's take a look here. Probably music. Oh yeah. Ooh. Proton, if you're still around, love the vibe, yeah. How much space, how much memory do you have when you're working with the Amiga? I'm just curious how many, and then like the audio, you do some incredible stuff with the audio. How many different channels do we have? Like, what are the limitations? I could look it up as well. Good evening, fellow demo seniors. Demo seniors. Complex and ScoopX and Offense together are proud to prevent Revision 2024. That's insane. 512K, 512K. That's amazing. Depends on the model. Yeah, for this one, I suppose it was my question. This is so cool. It's amazing how much you can fit, right? In something like this, you know, if I were to compile my I think I could use something called B flat to get mine really tiny right now. But even if I were to compile what I have right now, it'd be a couple megabytes, I imagine. Maybe not. My DLLs were quite small. Quite small actually. Be interested to see if I can do it. Proton want to send special greetings, all viewers. I'm gonna skip forward, see if we can actually get to the actual demo stuff. Okay, here we go. Oh, I missed a little bit. We were about to start and I skipped past it. Let's go. So cool. Oh yeah. Oh, look at this. Look at this down here. Oh, wow. That's cool. Proton, thank you so much for sharing with us. The points. This runs on any Amiga with 600 kilobytes of memory. Incredible. Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing this, folks. Be sure to go check out ProtonFig. Doing some incredible stuff with the Amiga. Some incredible stuff with the Amiga. Yeah. Okay, so something I want to do, something that I really want to be able to do with this is to have add 1x1 figure. We want to say, you know, should not allow figure to be added. Yeah, you know, should not. I'm trying to think of the best way. Board should not allow a figure to. Should not allow two figures in one tile. I wanted to do a refactor before I get there, though. I wanted to change the abstract type here. I want to change to figure info. So I'm going to do a little thing here. Like this. I want my abstract figure info. And then this is actually the figure. I wanted to do that. I liked this idea here of this prop being prop info. So we could have a no prop info, right? And same with our tile. This should be, do a little bit of refactor here. Tile info, and then underneath we have a no tile or a tile. The naming there I feel is better. We're gonna get back at tile info. A tile info can either be a no tile or a tile, and we could add some more stuff to this later along as we go, but we'll be able to do a pattern match on that to pull them out. Okay. Let me do a quick commit here. Get status. Commit -m feat board should add 1x1 figure. Okay. A test I want to make sure public void should not allow two figures in same tile, same position. Right. So we'll have an int x, we'll have an int y. And we're basically, what the setup is now going to be to add a figure and then try and add another figure, and we should get an exception. We should get an exception that it's already occupied. Okay. So we'll have a theory here. Same thing. We don't need to overdo it with the theories. Two test numbers is fine. And then it should extrapolate beyond that. Our setup now is this. Okay. We're going to add a figure into a space. Right, under test, you're gonna add the figure. So this is our setup. This is our arrange. Our assert now is to try and create a new figure to second. Call this figure. Good. And we're gonna have another to add. Same thing. We're gonna put a width, height, here. And we're going to try and add it to this same space. So under test.add figure x, y, to add. And this should throw an exception. This should throw an exception. And I believe we do this by doing shouldly dot throw, should throw, let's go double check. Let's go find out how to, I can't remember the syntax for it. Shouldly, should throw. Throw. Should dot throw. Okay, that makes sense. Should dot throw. And it's going to be an illegal, what is it? It's not an argument exception. The operation can't be completed because something's already there. Let me go find it real quick. New, it's just an operation exception. That's what it is. I had to start typing operation exception. Invalid operation exception. Okay. And then I believe we do one of these. So then we say, what code should we run? All right. So if we try and add a figure into the space that already is occupied, we should throw an exception saying, you can't do that. Something's already there. So this should fail. Folks, just a reminder, we do have Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam coming up in June. So how does a throw with a function as an argument work? I don't quite understand the question. But what this is saying, what I would like to do is, it is not a valid operation to add a figure into a position that already contains a figure. That is just like your board can't contain two things at the same position. Usually, if you're using like an array data structure, it would just override it. I don't want my data structure to work that way. I don't want my data structure to work that way. I don't know if that makes sense, whimsically made. So basically, the simplest way to implement this currently is to say if tiles.contains a key. I actually wonder, add here. Triad attempts to add the specific key to the value of the dictionary. I think triad is sort of what I want. Exactly. This is saying that this should not be valid. The way I'm writing this should not be valid. It should throw an exception. It shouldn't allow me to do this. If you've done this, the programmer has made a programming logical error, right? So it's not that the user, the player of the game has done something wrong. It's that the programmer who's using this has made an error in the logic. Right, so I think triad is what I want here. So I'm going to do a new triad at position of x, y. Stop. And I'm going to say of the thing I want to add. So we're going to say, is that right? Triad position value. What is this complaining? Cannot convert. Oh, I need a new tile. Oh, so I can't do this. I actually have to. This is really interesting. This is interesting. All right. I feel like a switch might be the best thing to do here. Because I need to modify. Yeah, because I don't have direct access to the data in that position. It might actually make sense to swatch it. Switches get stitches. I love switch expressions, Grumpy. I like the switches get stitches. They're really, I find them really readable, and the logic of how they flow can be quite nice. Let me start with the simplest thing of what I want. So I'm going to say if tiles. So the alternative to a throw would be to have information come back, right? The alternative to a throw is have information return saying whether or not this was successful. And I do think I'm going to add in a try there. There's enough lines to be longer than a screen height. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. The simplest thing I can say here is if tiles, all right, at new position of X. Hate this autocomplete here. I don't understand. Is it trying to tell me to do this? I don't understand what the autocomplete keeps trying to do with the automatically going to a capital. I don't know where this information's coming from, and it drives me a little bit crazy. I'd like to figure it out so I can turn it off or understand how to use it. Is it from the 4th Programmer's Handbook? I thought that was like an Uncle... Isn't that a clean code thing, an Uncle Bob thing? All right. Dot. I want to be able to ask the question, has figure. Okay, so if there's already a figure in this tile, I would like to throw a new illegal, what is it, operation... invalid operation exception. I'd like to do this. Don't make things too big, exactly. Don't make things too big. That's how I feel about it. What I tell my students is 10 lines. You should aim for, if you go more than 10 lines, and this is a generalization, 10 lines. I've written functions that are longer than 10 lines. But 10 lines should kind of be your goal. Installs 5 times. Yeah, this is why I don't say it should take up one screen, right? That said, I think 10, 20 lines is sort of the max. Should fit on one screen nicely, side by side, right? So has figure. I'm gonna say if we already has a figure here, I want to throw an exception. So this is telling me I kind of want to have a method here. In my tile that tells us if we has a figure. So I want this to be an abstract method as figure. If I'm in a tile, I want to know whether or not there's a figure here. And so no tile sort, oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. If I get a tile info back, there's definitely no figure, no tile here. Yeah, there are reasons to be able to write a function more than 10. I always tell my students, if it's more than 10 lines of code, you need a good reason. Right? And typically, yeah, so typically you have some well-known algorithm you're implementing, like a breadth first search. I think breadth first search, it typically takes me like 15 lines of code. I don't think I can fit it in 10, right? And so you often have an abstraction that comes with that. All right. So I have this, I've been doing this thing where I'm doing functional stuff. That's tricky in C# with things like try, catch, finally, and using blocks. Yeah, exactly. So there are times when you need more. There are times, that's what I'm saying, like it's not always. 30, I think 30-line functions are can be gnarly. Napalm, I'd ask you, can you show me, and this is just me saying, can you show me a well-written 30-line, it all depends, exactly, it all depends. Let's see, I've written some gnarly stuff, we could go look at it. Yeah, let's go with, it should have more than 10 statements. 10 statements, how about that? So it comes down to the single responsibility. How many things is that line of code doing? How many things is that function accomplishing? Sometimes you can't do it. I agree with that. So my question is, do I want to write this? And I've been doing this weird thing where I take it and I'd write this as an extension method. I think I'd rather enforce it here. I don't understand why I'm not getting errors. Let me do a reload here. I should be having compilation errors here. And I don't understand why I'm not getting compilation errors here. There we go. I don't understand that. But our implementation of hasFigure here. Well, I'm also trying to follow this thing where I put sealed on everything. Can I do a sealed record? Yeah. I want to put sealed on things as much as possible. hasFigure on a node tile is always going to return false. Mungard asks, hey, can you explain what public record tile info means? Absolutely. Give me just a moment and then I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of what it's doing. The main thing it's doing is I have... Let me finish this. Sorry. Let me finish this. And then I'll be happy to try and explain it here. Okay. So I'm going to say hasFigure is going to return if it has to do with if our figure info is none, right? So if figure is no figure is not. So we have a figure if the figure is not no figure. So no figure says there's nothing here. All right, so this is my definition of that. You can do a build, make sure this is building still. 7 a.m. where I am. So it's 7 a.m. local. Okay, do my tests. All right, so now my tests are going to pass. Let's add in this as a feature. This was board should not allow two figures in same position. Okay, so we added that in. All right, Mungard has a great question. Can you explain what public record tile info means? So the short version is I have a class here called tile info. So on my board, I have tiles. There's positions on my board. Let me go to my doc cam here. It makes a little bit more sense from this position. So I have each cell here. I'm calling tile here a single position on the board. Tile info is a class that will tell us about the figure that's in the board, as well as we have this idea of props as well. So let me grab a prop here. We can also end up with things on the board that are like hazards. So you might have this blades. A tile can contain a figure as well as props. So you can have one prop in a tile. You can't have multiple props. You can't have multiple figures. That's the definition as I'm doing it right now. Okay. So if I go back to my definition here, my tile info tells me what is in that tile. The camera's focused on the ground, not the table. Are we sure? You got me. You got me. I think we had it there. When I look at it, it looks okay. So a no tile. This is a tile info. A no tile would be if we were trying to reference a position. So for example, this position right here is a no tile. It's literally not part of the game state. There's nothing, you can't actually put in there. It's a no tile, okay? And then we have a tile. So this is the actual tile. A tile info that is an actual tile is a position that's part of the board. And the position that's part of it can have a figure and a prop, but it could also contain none. So I also have this data type here called figure.none, propinfo.none. So it can contain nothing. And so I have this thing here that says if the figure is not no figure. This reads a little bit weird. But if figure is not no figure, so no figure says there's nothing there, then it has a figure, right? So if it is not a no figure, then there's something there. Did that answer your question, Mungard? I could go a little bit further if you're curious what a record is. If you're curious more about what a record is, I could go a little bit further. Tony, going absolutely wonderful. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back, my friend. Glad to have you here on this beautiful, beautiful Monday. Okay, yeah, so let me talk about what a record is. Let me ask you, Mungard, do you know what a class is? Record demo. Okay, so let's take a look at what a record is. So you know what a class is, so record sort of follows from that. A record is a piece of media you can use to store waves. No. Glad to learn. Never heard of records before. Yeah, let's check it out, Tony. Let's check it out. Okay. So a record is like a class. A record is like a class, but we get some free info for free. So let me create a class here called this is one of my favorite. We're gonna call position. Okay. So I'm gonna create a record. I'm gonna create a class called position, like so. Okay. And I want my position to contain an X and a Y. Public int X and a public int Y, like so. And then I have a constructor, public position int XY. And in my constructor, I set X to be equal to the value that we pass in. I set Y to be equal to the value that we pass in. All right. Does this make sense? Is this making sense so far? So now I can create positions that have an X and a Y value. It is immutable. So records are immutable. That's one of the things about them, or they should be. The idea is that they should be. Okay, so we have a position here. So I do position, origin equals new position. Ooh, it's not pooling service. New 0, 0. I construct a position, position other. Let's create another position here, 0, 0. So they have the same position. They have the same position. One thing, if I were to do a console.writeLine, let's do origin like this. Let's do other like this. If I do a .NET run, it just says, oh, by the way, that's just a position. That's all we know about it. The default implementation is other. So you might come in and you might say, okay, well, I actually want to be able to see this a little bit better. Public override string to string. Oh, no, not string to string. Why is the autocomplete so bad? All right. What I might do is I might add a toString here that says, okay, well, this is a position. And then we have an X. X is X. Y is Y. All right, so I could do this. All right, so now I do a .NET run, and it shows me, okay, I have an X here, I have a Y here like this. If I were to change this to a 2, the toString should print out nicely for us. Other is a position that has this and that. Okay, so we get that. All right, I'm gonna switch this back to 0 just for now. One thing we also might want to check is origin equal to other, right? Double equals other. And this is going to return false because these two things, even though they have the same position, the default implementation of equals is in memory. So these things are not the same. They're two different objects. We might want to be able to compare them this way. So you might end up writing an equality and a hash code check and overwriting some stuff in there. Record lets me do the following. I'm going to leave this here just so we can see it. I'm going to comment it out. Record is shorthand for essentially all of this, plus some more. Record, position, int X, int Y. Now, if I run my program, so I've commented out all of this. Let me put this side by side so you can see it a little bit better. I get all of the equality check. I get all of the printing for free. I get a bunch of stuff for free. The one thing that I lose, and I didn't actually lose it because I made these just Git, is these are now immutable. I can't modify the data inside the objects. Distron, have a beautiful day. Remember to keep coding, keep growing, keep being the best you can be. I'm looking forward to seeing Giantess. Let us know when it's out. Send it to us on the Discord. So, record is a short syntactic sugar to describe a class in which you have immutable properties, a toString, and equality checks. Okay. Mungard, how'd I do? What do you think of that? Does it make sense? Maybe a little bit of sense? You got any follow-up questions? Is there anything that you'd like some clarity on here? And we can go look at, what is it? Sharp Lab. We can do the following. All right, so we can actually look at what it compiles down to. So if I do a public record position int x int y. Yeah, I'd be happy to show you where I use it instead of a class. If you want something that's not mutable. Vibes, here come the vibes. How's it going? Welcome back to the stream. Here comes the vibe. Great to see you. Basically, you get a bunch of stuff received. So this code here, public record position, compiles into all of this here. Okay, so I get all of these things for free by using a record. It gives me a getter, a getter for X. It gives me an initializer for X as well. So we get a get and an init for X, Y. We get a constructor for free. We get toString for free. We get this nice not equals check for free. We get the equals check for free. We get a hash code. We get equals, all this stuff. Let me show you how I'm using it. One of the reasons I like using it is I can have this nice syntax here for this. One way I can use it, let me think here. One way I can use it nicely. If I'm using a record, I can use it as a key in a dictionary. That's one really nice benefit of using a record. You could implement equals and hash code and use things in a dictionary as well. I often use them over classes because I like immutability in general. So for example, here, you'll notice I have a tile info here. This is my abstract record. Then there's an actual record under the hood, no tile. Notice I don't have to like write a constructor. It has all these properties. Same thing here. In the figure, I have a prop inside of this. In my mind, you should use a record whenever possible. And there are times when a record doesn't make sense. So let me show you where a record doesn't make sense. On my board is an example where a record doesn't make sense, in my opinion, because the equality check, I would never want to use my board as a key in a dictionary. Maybe I would. The equality check on my board is complex enough because it contains a bunch of different things. It's not easy to construct this directly. It's not easy to construct this thing directly. I don't know if that makes sense, Mungard. So typically, I use record whenever I can instead of a class. And then the exception to that rule is sometimes a record needs to be sometimes you need mutability. So if I want to be able to mutate something, so for example, my board is mutatable. I can add tiles to it. I can set the figures in it. If I didn't do this, I'd have to actually construct a whole new board every time I want to modify it. And so I think the better thought is, yeah. Oh, Monk, no, do not apologize for derailing. I love talking about this stuff. If you're new here, I think you might be new here. I'm a computer science teacher. I actually teach computer science and programming as my full-time job. And this stream is sort of dedicated to learning, coding, and growing together here. So thank you for asking. I'm always more than happy to go over anything to help add clarity for someone. So great question. Okay, now, where was I? Yes, so I was in the process. Glad to have you here. You're always welcome to lurk. We appreciate that. I hope you're enjoying your stay. So we've covered some of the very simple cases. All right, so I have a 1x1. I can't put it in the same spot. Now I want to consider, okay, I want to be able to add in a figure of an arbitrary size. An arbitrary size. And it needs to occupy all of those spaces. I'm gonna start by doing a 3x2. Yeah, this is where some challenging comes up, and I have some ideas how to do this. On my last project, I didn't include this. Where is it? This is board should be. I can go ahead and close that. Iron Branded. Yeah. So here's the thing. Exactly, Iron Branded. If you have a question, you're almost certainly not the only person that has that question. You're almost certainly not the only person that has that question. And also it sort of puts it in the record here for us so people can come back and find it. Maybe I should do a little clip here and add a highlight here. Let's add a marker to stream talking about records. I'm gonna add a little marker here. Maybe I'll have some time, go back and mark it. Here. Yeah. Okay. So public void. We should be able to add, and I'm gonna keep it simple. I don't want to get my test should be simple, easy to read. I'm going to add a 2x3 figure to board. Okay, so to be able to add a 2x3 figure to the board, do an int x and an int y, like this. So we're going to need space to add that figure. So I actually need to add in all the spaces. So I'm also noticing there's like a test here that I'm going to need to write, where it's like, I shouldn't be able to add a figure in a tile that doesn't exist. Did I already do that? No, I haven't. So if I try to add a figure in a tile that doesn't exist, I need to be able to do that. I'm going to take a little note here. Yeah, so as I go, it's like I'm thinking of these new things I need to be able to do. I'm going to put a little note here. Should not add figure to empty to no tile. All right, so if there's a no tile, I need to have a test for that. Okay. So to be able to add a 2x3 figure, I need a board that can support it. Okay, so once again, I'm going to use the simple case here, like this. And so part of me is, add figure of any size, right? So there's like some thoughts I'm going through here of maybe I should actually do an int width, int height to specify the size of it. Constructing the board becomes a little bit trickier at that point. But let's go 1x2, 2x3. Maybe we can do it like this. 3x2. Let's do a 1x2 and a 2x2. 0, 0, -4, just like this. The idea being, I need my board to have all of those spaces, right? So the test is describing what is allowable. We have an arrange, we have the thing we're actually wanting to perform, and then the assert, like, so arrange, act, assert. I'm not even sure. It would never occur to me to test if an object larger than the board can be added. Yeah, so that would come down to should not add a figure to no tile, right? So when we go to add a figure, if it would occupy a no tile space, it should throw an exception. It should say you can't do that. It's no longer a valid state. So it's my job as the creator of this board data structure to ensure that the board is always in a valid state, right? So that's where this invalid operation exception, if we look at the definition, the exception that is thrown with a method call is invalid for the object's current state. We're not allowed to do this thing because it would put the object into an invalid state. So we're not allowed to do it. It'll move it to an invalid state. Let's add a 2x3 figure to the board. So what are the requirements to be able to do this? Well, I need to ensure that I have a board. All right, we're going to create a board. And the board needs to have a tile at each one of these positions. So I'm gonna do a little thing here. Part of me wants to have like an add multiple tiles, add all tiles. I want to create a position for every X and Y within this width and height. So I'm gonna write a little simple thing here. And my test feels like it might be getting too complex. Int row equals, we'll go with int y equals 0. Y is less than width. Sorry, so I can't do this. I can't do this. I need to do like, I want to construct all these tiles. By for board y. Board y is less than w. Board y plus plus. For int board x equals 0. Board x less than. This should be height. See, I'm already making it complex enough that I can write bugs in here. Plus plus. So I construct a board that is this size. Under test dot add. Add tile. Okay. At board x, board y. So we need a board that has all of these tiles. Part of me is wanting to create a constructor where we can actually specify a width and a height of our board, create some space, specify a set of tiles that we could add to it. But I'm trying not to do too many things all at once. Okay. We now have a board that has that size. All right, has enough space for this piece. Now we're going to construct a figure. Figure here to add. It's going to be a new figure with a width equals to W and a height equals to H here. And then we're going to add it in. We're going to say under test dot add figure. We're going to add this figure at position X, Y, and the thing that we're going to add in here. So the next thing we want to do is actually for every one of the assertion is every one of these positions should actually contain our figure. This is why I feel like setting it, doing 2x3 rather than specifying a bunch of widths and heights feels better because my test is getting complex. My test is almost too complex here. I almost want a thing that says get cells within bounds type of thing, because you'll notice I'm copying and pasting this. I'm doing it again, and now under test dot get tile at my board X, my board Y, because each one of these positions tile, and I'm going to go ahead and cast it because I want it. I know it should be a tile. Go and cast it to a tile. It's my actual. My actual dot figure dot should be the thing that we added. So each one of those positions should contain this thing. All right. Add. I'm gonna call it large figure to board. Give it a width and a height. This I don't like. I don't think I like this. There's too much going on in this test. Instead, I'm going to abstract this to a function that says, give me all the cells in a rectangle. Specify a rectangle, get all the tiles, get all of the positions that would be in that rectangle. This test is all, you know how we followed the principle of like 10 lines. This is almost too long and there's like some copy repeat code. Oh, let's head back to our spot here. We should fail, right? We have 4 failing tests, these ones here. And I'm not entirely satisfied with this. I'm gonna do a quick hack here. Too much complexity, yeah. I'm gonna do a quick hack here. I'm gonna create a static IEnumerable that is gonna return to me a set of positions. And I'm going to call this function positions. And And it's going to take in, I suppose I could do this up top. I want this to return a new set here. Okay. And it's going to be this loop. And oh, it can't be static because it needs local information. It's going to do a yield return new position of board X, board Y. So now I can use this thing here. I can do the following. I can say positions equals positions like this. So now I'm not thinking too much about it. I just have all of my positions here. And now I can say, okay, for each one of these, all right, for all my positions, for each position in positions, I'm going to go through and I'm just going to say, add this to my board. Like that. And this should be capital X, capital Y. All right, so this feels a little bit better to me. And then down here, I could replace it a little bit here. And our actual becomes position.x, position.y, and I'm seeing, oh, hey, I probably want to have a get tile that accepts a position to make this a little simpler. I feel a little bit better about this. But really, this method should be pulled out as an extension somewhere else to be able to get those things. All right, so, and then this would potentially be a board that has an add all tiles to it. But I feel a little bit better about this. It reads a little bit better. It says go through all the positions, and then those same positions, we'd put them in here. A little bit less room for error. This could have errors in it. All right, let's finish this test up here. Be able to add a large figure. Oh, we finished this. Let's see if we can implement it real quick. So on our board, when we add a figure, we actually need to go through each of these tiles, right? So we need to pull out, this is, see again, look, it's showing me, oh, I'm gonna need this thing. I'm gonna need this code somewhere else, right? I need it in my board. I need it here. I'm gonna need a code that, I need a piece of code that does this, all right? And my question is, where should it go? What piece, where should it be? Sort of a little helper thing for position. I could write it as a static method here, right? Public static IEnumerable of position, position rectangle, something like this. I could make a class as a position rectangle. Kind of feels like maybe it should go in the position class. All right, so we need an int top left. Int, sorry, it should be a position top left in my mind. So we're taking a position of where we want to start. Then we have a width and a height like that. Yeah, I think this needs to be somewhere else, right? So, and part of me feels like it should actually be an extension on position. So let's go to position real quick. Part of me feels like we should have a public static class position extensions. Okay, and part of me wants to do the following. Given a position, a width and a height, build out that thing. And I realize now that I've actually written a bug here. I've written a bug here. Okay, I've actually written a bug, and I don't like that. So we're gonna get an IEnumerable position. Because it's not 0 here, right? Yeah, have a range in position, right? Height, width. This needs to be plus top left dot x plus top left dot y. So this deserves a whole test of its own, This deserves a whole test of its own, but given a position, we can do this thing here. So, you know, let's go right. Exactly. All right, so position should. I'm going to copy the top of this just to get all my imports and namespaces. All right, position should, and then we have a thing, fact, and we can make it a theory. I'm not entirely sure. Public void should get position rect. Okay. Get position rect. I want to be, so let's get 2 by 1. I'm gonna be very, very explicit with it. Okay. I'm gonna be very, very explicit with it so that I can ensure. I don't want to write for loops here because then the for loops are just gonna look like the ones I wrote. Let's do a 3 by 2 here. Must, yeah, they should, not that they must. Maybe we should start doing must testing. It must have this, it must have that. Let's do a get position here. So we're gonna have a position equals new 1, 2. All right, and if I do a position dot position rect and I pass in 2 by 1, right? So this should be, I'm gonna make this a hash set. Feels almost nice, but it should be an I'm gonna do a hash set here. Ooh, hash set feels nice. We'll keep it as an IEnumerable of position rect. We'll do actual to follow our convention here, and I'm just gonna have this get converted into it. And so we should be able to say, okay, actual dot count dot should be 2. Okay, actual dot should contain, there's 2 position, new position 1, 2. And it's 2 wide, so it should contain these 2 positions. So I'm being very, very explicit with this. Let's set a new position, -1 and -7. And we're gonna do a 3 by 2. So it should contain -1, -7. So it should contain 6 positions. -1, go across 3, 0, 1. And then it should go for each one of those. All right, so it should be -1, 6. So, oh, this is interesting. Down is increasing, right? X and Y. Y increases downward. 0. Hang on. -1, 6. Yeah. 0, -6, and 1, -6. Yeah. So our Y is too thick. Okay. This should fail, or I should have made it fail first. So we broke a little bit of a rule there of trying to make it fail first. Those actually pass. Those are actually passing. I should have made them fail. I'm gonna do a throw new exception, just to make sure that we're hitting those. So we should have a bunch of failing tests here. All right, so our tests fail. Those 2 tests fail. They pass when we work this way. Okay. So now in my board, let me add a little commit here. Get status, get add board dot position. Get add tests board position. Beat position should have rect position. Thank you for the cloud, not failing test. Yeah, thank you for the cloud. right, so now our board here can be simplified. We can simplify this by saying, well, the positions that we want are actually new position of x, y, dot to a position rect of our width and our height. So we have this thing tested. Now we can reuse this thing to say, okay, well, this creates a rectangle containing those positions. Hang on, what did I do? I deleted. Where'd my for loop adding them go? I accidentally. Our board needs to have these positions. I don't know where that went. I'm a little confused. Now we should be able to do for each position in positions, and say that our under test dot should add tile of our x position dot x position dot y, like so. So we add those in. This is our setup. This is what we're testing, and then we go through and say, okay, does it actually contain that thing? These should fail. Got to get ready for work here soon. We're super close though. All right, so now in our board, we can actually now use that too. We have confidence in our rect, in the way our rect works. So we can actually say, for each position in new position x, y dot position rect on the to add dot width, to add dot height. All right, so we have confidence that this works. So now it's safe to use it here. It's safer to use it here. And we actually come in and we can say this. Okay, now if any of those tiles has something, we throw an invalid exception. There's a little bit of a something wrong here. I can't actually start adding these things in until I've validated it. So I don't like this completely. So now I have to iterate through these positions twice. We might be able to come up with something clever here where we don't have to iterate through them twice, but if we fail, we like undo the work a little bit. All right. This should be position. This can be position, like so. Okay. How did we do? Okay. Made some progress. Our board should be able to add large figure. Board should add large figure to board. Add large figure. This needs to be add large figure. Just add large figure. So you're gonna a figure of an arbitrary size to the board. Woof. I do have to start getting ready for work. So unfortunately, I got to wrap it up. We'll be back on Wednesday, though. It feels like good progress. So we make some work here. Thank you, Dan. Let's get an add here. Get status, get commit -m. Feet board should add large figure. So we got that added in. There's some stuff we got to do. Make sure should not add figure to no tile. Board, should not allow two figures. Should not allow large figure to be added. I actually think this might pass even if we gave it a large figure here. I actually think this works. Right now we're only testing sizes 1. I want to add another thing. So let me add another thing. Should add, not add, should not allow large figure, should not allow large figure. Not even sure I need this test. Allow two figures in the same position. I might want to reconsider that. Should not allow large figure in same positions. All right, something like that. All right, I have the little note here for myself for later. making some good progress. We're gonna find someone to raid out to. Let's take a look here. See who we got. We can do JD does dev. Fullbox. We're gonna go raid Fullbox. So Fullbox is gonna be giving us, sharing his project with us. So folks, a little bit of promotion here. Don't forget our showcase coming up on Saturday. Be there. Check out all the cool people that are gonna be hanging out with us, showing off their work. So we're gonna raid Fullbox is gonna be there. Be sure to join the Discord. Come hang out with us. Ask questions. Share what you're working on. We have our game jam coming up in June, $700 worth of prizes, and Mechanically Challenged. Oh, his game looks awesome. I'm so excited for it. Mechanically Challenged. We're doing some stuff with that. Sorry, I should be promoting this stuff throughout the stream, but I get so distracted. All right, let's give Fullbox a raid here. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. Remember to keep coding, keep growing, keep being the best you can be. I will be back on Wednesday. So I'll see you then. Have a beautiful day. Yeah. Bye-bye.